It's opening day for Utah high school football, and opening night for the new stadium at Timpview. Nearly 3 years in the making. The defending 5A champion Thunderbirds play their first home game since 2021. Anxious to show off the new digs and ready to prove they still belong on the top. Looking to spoil the party is a Skyridge team that's no stranger to championship football, having a 3-game win streak over Timp as well. Will the Thunderbirds soar in their new home, or do the Falcons spoil the party? On Thursday Night Lights.
This is the America First Credit Union Thursday Night Lights, presented by R.C. Willey.
Welcome back, packed house here. Look at that grandstand. I can tell you it's
brand
tall
new
because I've run up and down
on the correct side of the field,
yeah,
right, Fox?
Exactly. I've run up and down it like 4 times in the last 15 minutes trying to deal with certain things. But yes, that is the most important thing. It is on the shady side of the field looking east, which is what you want to do. For years, Timpview had that grandstand a little more onto the left there, and it's still there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what they did.
They cook pizzas.
People.
They cook pizzas
literally.
in there.
I mean, you just sit the pizza
It's a brick
down.
oven.
It's unbelievable.
Them and the Highland Rams both had these brick press boxes that got so hot they were both facing the west.
Yeah, they're brutal.
Yeah, so this new renovation is fantastic. In fact, it's been a long time since we've been here. They haven't been on a home field. Donnie Atuaya, the head coach, took over a few years back, has never coached a home game as the head coach here yet. This will be a first for him. But we were told the last time that we did a Timpview game, Raider Damuni, who plays at BYU now, Timpview star, was a sophomore. That's the last time that we played, that we carried a Timpview game.
Good crowd on hand. They are back in school here.
I mean, a Timpview game at home. Let me be specific about that, because obviously we've done plenty of Timpview games, but not here.
They were playing anywhere somebody would loan them a field.
Yeah. They played their homecoming a couple of years ago at Provo High School.
Yeah. We broadcasted a few of those Timpview quote-unquote home games at visiting stadiums. All right, Luke Thronach ready to kick things off. The junior kicker back once again. He is a good one. And waiting in the end zone is Tavion Edwards, another player that we're all familiar with. And as I said at the outset, the 132nd season of high school football in Utah is underway. And Skyridge will have the football first. And a good return. Big hit up just beyond the 30-yard line as Junior Coughlin is the return man, and out comes the Skyridge offense. 25 yards on that return. Keneal Sweetwine at quarterback. And Alema, you and I were just talking. He's grown a little bit over the summer. Let's take a look at our keys to the game, brought to you by America First Credit Union. America First, proud to support high school athletics and your local community. Become a member today. What do you got, Alema?
Well, Skyridge, you got to pay attention to the portal. We'll talk about the quarterback on the other side, Carson Rasmussen for the Thunderbirds here. Just a minute, transfer from Pleasant Grove. Timpview, you got to watch out for zero. Number zero sum, and that's Toilolo. That guy's all over the field.
Right out of the gate, Silu on the ground, and Silu keeping his feet. Good yardage on the first carry of the season, picking up 7. Zayden Silu last year not used all that much as a junior, 200 yards plus rushing, but he'll be featured this season.
Well, we saw him a little bit late in the season last year, which is always great when you got a guy that's going into his senior season, gets a little action the year before towards the end of the year, and comes into the season on a roll.
Here he goes again, cuts back. He's got a first down, or as we like to say, a strong auto first down.
Great blocking up front. That front line on the offensive side for Skyridge, Ben Howard, Luke Davies, Filimone Fangupo, Darius Afalava, maybe one of the best linemen in the state, and Benjamin, Maatali Benjamin. That's a big group up front.
Well, they're hoping there to get a couple of yards as they continue to keep it on the ground. Sweetwine has yet to throw his first pass.
Keneal Sweetwine, by the way, as we take a look at our players to watch, brought to you by Spherion Staffing and Recruiting. Sweetwine comes into this season really with no starts from last year. He's already got 3 offers, was outstanding during the offseason as you get a motion penalty by Timpview. So he's got 3 offers, BYU, Washington State, USU, all interested in Sweetwine.
I can see why. He looks the part. We'll see how he performs, but he certainly looks the part.
Well, you know, you talk to their coaching staff, they'll tell you he makes every play necessary. He's got all the tangibles.
Second down, and again, this time hit in the backfield, nowhere to go. It's going to be a 1-yard loss. And Silu ran right into the awaiting arms of a host of orange jerseys.
Well, Lesa came through that time off that defensive line. He shot the gap and was able to get early penetration. Bring up a big 3rd down and 5.
First 3rd down of the game. Here we go.
A little jumbo formation. And bring in some extra weight on that offensive line.
Will Sweetwine throw his first pass of the day? And no, once again, they'll give it to Silu. It's going to be very close, maybe half-yard shy. I'm guessing Coach Atawai will probably leave his, Justin Hem leave his offense on the field.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at our defensive players to watch.
Well, you got Lesa. We already talked about him. Beckstead, you know, familiar name if you're a Timpview Thunderbird. 6'2", 46 tackles last year. And you got Makasini, who is, again, that leader in the middle.
So 4th and 1. And again, they'll feed the beast. And Silu's got the first down and more. And Skyridge continues to move the football.
You bring in an extra tight end, and you run behind Afalava and Benjamin to that right side. And you'd be hard-pressed to find a better right side of a line than that group right there. Darius Afalava on his way, verbally committed at least to Oklahoma. 10 offers already for Benjamin this year. Comes over from East High School.
There's a number of kids on the football field right now in tonight's game that'll be playing at the next level. No doubt about that. Sweetwine's first pass of the game. Looking outside, almost intercepted, Alema.
Well, we talk about Makasini and the things that he brings, and instinct being one of them. Able to read.
Oh, Makasini nearly had a pick. So a 2nd down and 10 as Sweetwine's first pass falls incomplete. And this time Sweetwine's going to take off. He's a big body, and he's going to get about 5.
Well, I think you're getting a little taste of what this offense is going to look like this year with Sweetwine under center, or calling the shots. Again, 6'4", 195 is, I think, a little light there. He's well over 200 pounds. And this is a kid, I think, from a leadership standpoint, that Skyridge is extremely excited about.
3rd down. They're going to let Silu try to get it. He's going to be well short, but he keeps fighting.
Looked like the ball might have come out there at the end.
I think it did, yeah. A little pushing and shoving, and it looks like it's recovered with enough yardage for a first down. How about that?
Take another look here. And again, running off that right side, Afalava and Benjamin leading the way. Good job by Timpview's defense linebacking core coming up and stopping him, but not before he got the first down.
First down, pass outside again. That was dangerous, but actually completed. Is it out of bounds, though?
No, I think he caught that in bounds. Hifo was there on coverage.
Oh, they're backing it up, though.
Take another look here.
Yeah, so
well, he was in bounds.
He was clearly in bounds. but they brought it back.
No, they're going to say that, that he didn't have possession of the ball.
So second down, 10. And now Sweetwine 0 for 2 on his passes so far in this game, but the Falcons are marching down the field. Sweetwine again setting up a screen. That's caught by CeeLo. Anything you can do to get in his hands, only get a couple of yards, so a 3rd and long coming.
Gain of 2 on the play brings up 3rd and 8.
Great job by that Timpview defense diagnosing the play, reading screen and getting up and disrupting what Skyridge was trying to accomplish there.
You hear the bell for the defense. It's 3rd and 8. There's been a long drive for Skyridge. Keneal Sweetwine looking again, firing downfield, tipped twice, and almost caught a lemon at the 3-yard line right in front of you, but it's incomplete.
Yeah, you got to wonder if Sweetwine may be feeling a little bit of nerves. 0 for 3 here in this opening drive. That time the ball just a little bit short. Oh, that was overthrown. He wasn't going for the back receiver. He was trying to connect with Jackson Burt underneath.
And they'll keep the offense on the field. 4th and 8.
Kind of a no man's land
type
of down and distance here.
Justin Hem, the quarterback or the offensive coordinator and head coach for Skyridge, has the play in, and here we go. And Sweetwine to throw again. He could take off, and Sweetwine does. And Sweetwine has the 1st down, and he's into the University of Utah red zone, always climbing to reach our goal of unsurpassed impact at the University of Utah.
You know, interesting, because I had this conversation with Donnie Atawaya about Carson Rasmussen, the quarterback for Timpview, who comes in from Pleasant Grove, but this would relate to any quarterback that's coming in relatively new. How do you earn the respect of the guys on your team? Well, one of the ways you do is you make plays like Sweetwine just made.
Timpview's going to take a timeout, get themselves gathered. What a drive this has been for Skyridge. They've had a lot of success against Timpview 11. They've played 4 times, but Skyridge has won 3 in a row.
They haven't always been in the same division, right?
That's right.
5A, 6A.
5A, 6A, yeah.
Good look at Coach Hem gathering his offense. We talked about Hem taking over last year.
Yeah, Hem came from Brighton High School, came over, was the offensive coordinator on John Lehman's last season when they won the state championship. Well, Lehman guided them to the state title, then did the mic drop and became the athletic director. And the plan all along was to have Hem take over as head coach, and he went 11-3 in his first year last year.
Hem, of course, if you mentioned this or not, was up at Brighton.
Yeah, exactly.
And of course, in the process, John Lehman knew that he was going to step down, brings Hem over from Brighton, says, hey, I'm going to coach 1 more year, then I want you to take over.
And what he said was, I'm going to coach 1 more year and win the state championship, and then you can take over.
Right.
And here we go, CeeLo again, trying to get to the outside. Look at him fight. So strong, and a good pickup on 1st down.
I'm telling you, as a former running back, if I'm in the huddle, I'm saying, okay, let's run it right side again, behind Afalava and Mata'ali Benjamin. Benjamin is 6'5", about 350 pounds. He's just a monster.
So you've got about 700 pounds on that right side.
Now, that doesn't mean you can't run behind Luke Davies and Ben Howard on the left side.
That's right.
Ben Howard's committed to Cal. You got, a ton of offers on the right side of the line. This is just talent up front.
Seniors all the way across. Sweetwine going to the end zone, and it's just a little wide and outside as came very close to his first touchdown pass.
Well, Isaac Ngaleai did a really nice job of making sure that Coughlin wasn't able to get free on that route.
Sweetwine last year in a reserve role, Lemmy, he did throw 16 passes and completed 13 of them. So he's got a little bit of experience out
And we
there.
had a chance to see him some of the games that we did. He'd come in at the end, just a sophomore. But I remember talking to the coaching staff after. I said, "This kid, what do you think?" He's just like, "Hey, this kid is the future at Skyridge."
Yeah, and as you said, just a sophomore last year, so they've got him for 2 seasons.
Yeah, he put on a bunch of weight during the offseason, but good weight. Not the kind of weight that you and I put on. It's not that kind of weight. He put on good weight.
3rd and 5. Silu bouncing outside and held again, but they have converted on this drive 2 4th downs already. 2 for 2. And it looks like they'll keep the offense out there again.
Well, a number of 4th down conversions on this drive alone.
This would be the 3rd.
I'll tell you, this is the kind of thing that wears down the defense.
Here we go. They need to get to about the 10-yard line. '17th play of this drive, Alema. It has gone on, and they got him to jump. A freebie coming for 1st down.
That time, Matthias Lesa, usually a very disciplined defensive lineman. And I just mentioned this, right? It wears a defense down. And when that kind of thing happens, fatigue starts to take over you mentally, and you got to focus even that much more in a situation like this.
So now it's 1st and goal.
You think of how long they've been on the field. The first drive, we got 4 minutes and 20 seconds left in the first quarter.
And this time Sweetwine keeps it, gets outside and into the end zone. First touchdown of the season.
Beautifully designed play. Some play action in the backfield, trying to get the linebackers flowing one direction, and Sweetwine comes back the other direction. Nice job up front. That was Luke Davies on the pull. A little kick out block for Sweetwine to find the end zone.
Point after on the way is up and good. And the Skyridge Falcons coming in here, scoring the first touchdown in the Timpview Thunderbirds' brand new stadium. Keneal Sweetwine with a heavy dose of Zayden Silu leads them all the way down, and the quarterback finishes things off. 17 plays, 69 yards, and that rushing TD for 7 on Thursday Night Lights. We are back. It's a little sunny and hot over there on the east side of the stadium. A little cooler here on the west side, but you know what? They're just fine over there because their team, Skyridge Falcons, just completed that drive, and they're on the scoreboard. 7-0 Skyridge with the lead.
Well, they were warmed up. They stayed out here during warm-ups. Timpview took the field, went through their normal warm-out routine. They went back into the locker room, and Skyridge just stayed out here. They stayed out here for a very long time, and I was thinking that, man, that's a long time to keep your guys in the sun, but it paid off. They were warm and ready to go when the gun sounded here.
This is game 1 of 29 for us this season. Tomorrow night, we'll just go right up the street to Lehigh. The Pioneers taking on Davis. You'll see that game on KMYU TV. So, how about all that time that Skyridge uses? 18-play drive. They score. Now, how will Timpview answer? Remember, Carson Rasmussen, number 2, their quarterback, very experienced at Pleasant Grove. Threw for almost 4,000 yards last season. And we'll get a chance to see him right now as that kick is another Victor's Tires touchback.
I'm interested to see how Carson Rasmussen will handle this offense. I talked with Coach Atuaya before the game, asking him, okay, you got, a new quarterback that's coming in. He's coming from a different school, and sometimes it's hard for a leader to take over like that, but it can happen. He said this has been seamless, and Rasmussen has stepped up and instantly was able to get respect from this offense.
And Alema, don't forget the running back, Chivas Gregory. He transferred over from Cedar Valley.
Right.
Remember, we did the game with them last year, and he was playing for them. So he's in the backfield now, and right out of the gates, Rasmussen is looking to throw, directing traffic, nowhere to go, and that. Alema, you talk about the offensive line of Skyridge. How about the defense?
Oh, the defense is, a bunch of monsters out there. You got Tokelau, Malufau, and Toilolo, and they're very active going side to side. And this time, obviously, Rasmussen has to, get out of the pocket. Toilolo there at the end to pick Rasmussen up. But the first to get there was Ryder Holt, one of the linebackers.
So no gain, second down. Rasmussen again looking to throw. Creating as much time as he can, and he takes off again. And this time he gets pretty good yardage. He'll pick up 6.
Is it just me, or does Rasmussen remind you of a former Skyridge quarterback named McKay Hillstead,
yeah,
who's down at BYU now, spent some time at Utah State? He's active. We've talked about his throwing numbers, almost 4,000 yards, but kid can run, tuck the ball and run.
Right now he's looking at a 3rd and 4. Senior quarterback. And Rasmussen again to throw, firing downfield, trying to hit Pula. And Pula, what a catch. What a catch, and it's inbounds. He's got the ball at the 44-yard line. 30 yards, Alema.
I got to tell you, I was talking with Coach Atuaya, and Pula came up to him to get his hands checked because he had some wristbands. He said, I'm going to make sure that this is all approved. He said, if you make some catches for me, it's all approved. Now the foot is just out of bounds. They got away with a great call there, or a call that probably should have been out of bounds, but still big play.
Oh, big hit. Rasmussen goes down, and that defensive line again, Alema, they are so tough.
Well, Noah Bird, yeah, we talk about Malufau and Tokelau. They're the ones who are going to occupy the blockers up front. Then your running back's got to pick up the linebacker, and Noah Bird comes through untouched against the Rasmussen.
By the way, Alema, that previous play, that pass to Pula, that is the first play of this game that's gone for over 10 yards. They have just been nickel and diming themselves so far until that play. And then, of course, big sack there, 2nd and long. Rasmussen pass caught. Pula again over the middle. Completely different look from Skyridge. They came out. Skyridge just ran, and now Timpview doing just the opposite.
Yeah, you got the Pula twins now, so we got to be a little more specific. Jaron Pula, number 5, Keenan Pula, number 3.
So they pick up a good chunk, but it's still a 3rd and 8. They've got to get to the 34-yard line. Rasmussen, quarterback draw. Rasmussen's got a lot of room, and he's got the strong auto first down inside the 30-yard line. And just like Skyridge, now Timpview's offense is moving after the 13-yard pickup.
I got to tell you, I wasn't anticipating the running from Rasmussen. All the numbers we were focusing on were the passing yards. And so far, man, he has done a great job with his legs.
Well, he's been everything. He's passed it, he's run it, and it's the first time he's handed the ball off, and not much on that right side of the line for Chivas Gregory.
Gregory, a 1,000-yard rusher last year, 14 TDs to his credit.
That was a rough season for Cedar Valley, but he was one of the bright spots. And now playing up here. It's interesting how much this game has changed. I mean, every game we do, there are more and more players that have transferred from other schools. After the lost 2nd long, this could be the last play of the first quarter. We'll see. It's caught. Pula again. And Pula inside the University of Utah red zone.
3 big plays from Pula. Great route there, able to get wide open over the middle.
20-yard pickup on that one.
Big target. Pula well over 6 foot tall. Great athleticism. Jaron Pula with the first down.
So the clock will wind down, and we've come to the end of the first quarter. Skyridge, of course, has the lead, but the defending 5A champion, Timpview Thunderbirds, are knocking on the door. We got a good one to open the season. Brand new digs here. out of Timpview. Right now the Thunderbirds looking to get on the scoreboard when we return on America First Credit Union's Thursday Night Lights.
Got to say thank you to Timpview. They've been very hospitable. Wendy and I, the athletics director here at Timpview, have been very gracious and taking care of us as we got here. And we're excited to be back and be streaming the games for Apollo Streams, Timpview games, by the way. We'll get you more information on that through KJazz and KMYU.
Rasmussen 3 for 3 for 60 yards right now, trying to get him into the end zone. He's going to try to do his legs, and he'll get a couple of yards. Second down coming.
You try to get the linebackers flowing with that action going across the line of scrimmage from one side to the other. Skyridge that time doing a nice job reading it. Short gain.
Second and goal. Gregory in the backfield.
Three receivers right side of the formation, excuse me, left side of the formation.
Rasmussen to throw. Oh, perfectly placed ball. And that's a touchdown once again. Aleva Pula has been the man.
4 big catches for Pula on this drive. That time, one-on-one coverage. Ambrosio was covering him on that right side. I said trips to the left. 3 receivers left side. 1 receiver, just Pula on the right side. And Rasmussen looked that way the entire time. Put the ball exactly where it needed to be for Pula to make the catch. Jaron Pula with the touchdown.
How about Rasmussen's numbers as the point after is up and in? 4 for 4, 67 yards and a touchdown. Wow, what a start. Good game. We're tied up on America First Credit Union's Thursday Night Lights. I mentioned Rasmussen, the 4 for 4, 67 yards and the 1 TD. All of them were to Pula. Every pass. So he's found a favorite target already. 9 plays, 80 yards in the TD pass.
And I got to tell you, and Frank can attest to this, those relationships, you get a new quarterback that comes in and automatically, or right now at least it looks like it, oh, they got great chemistry. That must have happened overnight. That did not happen overnight. That's a lot of work that has taken place over this hot summer where we had 100 degrees pretty regularly here this year in the state of Utah. But those 2 guys have spent a lot of time working together for them to look like this tonight.
Yeah, no doubt. Last year, of course, we had mentioned that Helaman Kasuga is now at Corner Canyon High School, and he's just a junior. As that kick is another Victor's Tires touchback, and now we get to see the Skyridge offense once again. So we're at 11 minutes to play here in the half, and each team's only had 1 possession.
How about that?
Because the drives have been so long. That's unreal.
Well, you can see the sun just about to be eclipsed here, and the field will be completely in the shadows.
Yeah, they can't wait over there.
Again, a good look at Sweetwine. I mentioned that he's got 3 offers already, and this is his first start as a high school quarterback. But BYU, Washington State, Utah State have all expressed interest and offered him.
And they will continue to run the football. This time Sweetwine will do it. So he's been doing a lot of work with his legs as well, and a good pickup there of 7 yards.
Talk about, you know, the offseason work that Rasmussen had put in with Pula. Sweetwine, who of course has been in the program, was busy at camps during the offseason, was a star at one of the Under Armour camps here nationally this year. Good look at Coach Hem. Calling this offense looking right into the sun.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens this time of year. But I guess we could have pushed kickoff back to 8. Not sure they would have supported that. A couple of yards, going to be another 3rd down and about 1. But these 2 teams have definitely established who the star players are early on anyway.
Big Daniel Beckstead there clogging things up along with Sam Hepworth.
3rd down coming. They only need a yard. Silu in the backfield next to Sweetwine. And it will be Silu, and he pushes behind that big offensive line. All that senior heavyweight.
Yes.
And they got it.
Again, you got Fungupo up there as the center. And then either side, you got Afalava and Benjamin on that right side. Just moving things.
It's interesting. They're 2 for 5 on third downs. But the interesting note to that is on fourth down, they're 2 for 2. So they haven't really needed the, when the third down didn't work, what do? They go convert the fourth down. And here we go again. Sweetwine throwing the ball. And that ball, you could hear footsteps, couldn't you, Lemma, even from up here?
Well, you hear footsteps, and guys are usually screaming as they're coming in. And Macassini was right there in great position to make. That's the perfect form tackle. If you're watching the home young players, that's how you make a tackle. Down here by the Mac Shack, by the way, got a bunch of BYU coaches and the head coach of the University of Utah,
really?
Kyle Whittingham, who grew up right here in this neighborhood.
They're all hanging out with you?
They're over here by the Mac Shack because they're thinking, oh, if I'm by the Mac Shack, maybe I'll get suited up, get a good deal on a suit.
Doing a little recruiting.
That's right. I'm getting some people over the Mr. Mac camp.
Sweetwine's pass. This one's caught. It's going to be a pickup of about maybe 2 yards. And now Skyridge continues to move the football.
Yeah, that time I think it was Lesa. There's a good look at Kyle Whittingham along with Frank Dolce. See, I know Frank knows what he's doing because he wants to get another suit at Mr. Mac. And we'll get Coach Kyle Whittingham, we'll get him sized up and put him in a good-looking suit at the Mac Shack. What do you think?
The Mac Shack's
Tell me what this conversation is right now. What do you think that Frank is telling Coach Witt?
Hey, Coach, I still have some eligibility left. Deep ball, Sweetwine going for it all and overthrows his target. Is there a flag down over there, though, in the sun?
There's going to be a flag. There was a little jersey pull there.
Yeah.
So it's probably going to be a holding call.
He's trying to hit Coughlin. And they're talking about, there's Paul Binns, our referee.
Looked like Pulo was out there defending. He might be getting some action there on the defensive side of the ball.
Here's Paul Binns.
And unfortunately for Timpview, he probably could have let that go. The ball looked like it might have been a bit overthrown.
So they get the first down, but nowhere near the yardage they would have. And here we go. Sweetwine again. This time he gives off to Iacopo, who gets a couple.
And off number 28, Derek Iacopo. 3 on the play. 2nd and 7.
Got a good, stable of running backs. Selu, of course, is their bell cow running back. Iacopo comes in, and he can carry the ball going into his senior campaign here. They're all very similar. At least Selu and Iacopo are just about exactly the same size, 5'8", 180 pounds. Barris a little bit bigger, 5'11", 190.
Second down. Screen. Set up and dropped. Got to keep an eye on that. Josh Hansen couldn't hold on, but it was a forward pass.
But Ngali doing what you tell all the young kids to do. You see a pass in the backfield, you go scoop that thing up if it hits the ground.
So another third down.
I'll tell you, it's going to be the team that's able to get a stop that's going to win this game.
Here we go.
So far, neither defense has been able to stop them.
Sweetwine looking wide open in the flat. And again, Selu is there.
Well, that might be a late flag come in.
He has been sensational tonight.
See Jim Herman there in that mix right there. He's yelling at the officiating crew and saying, where's the flag? Nice job by Selu to make the adjustment. It looked like he was looking right into the sun as he caught that ball. He got knocked out of bounds and then dragged to the ground once he got out of bounds.
21 yards, first chunk play for Keneal Sweetwine and Skyridge. And back and forth. Well, you and I were talking about the defenses at the start of this game, and they have had trouble with these offenses. And they'll keep it on the ground, Barris. And Luke gets a couple.
You know, it's interesting that having that conversation, because typically it's going to be the defense ahead of the offense going into the first game of the season. And so far, both of these offenses have been looking very good and able to make adjustments on the fly, turning broken plays into big plays.
Here we go. Sweetwine passes outside. That should be enough for another first down, and just inside the University of Utah red zone.
They gave him nice forward progress, a good spot on that play for Junior Coughlin. He was at Dixie last year, by the way. He transfers up here and moves up to Utah County.
9th first down of this game. I mean, it's unreal how well these two offenses have been moving the ball just methodically. Sweetwine keeps it. He's dancing around, dives ahead. He's about 2 yards shy of the first, but continues to march this team down the field.
I'll tell you what was impressive on that play was the ability by Sweetwine, who is 6'4", by the way. Right, that's a big quarterback, and once he gets moving, he's able to plant his foot in the ground and change direction and get upfield.
Second and short. Sweetwine looking, plenty of time. I mean, that offensive line giving him all sorts of time. Then he almost throws an interception a little bit high. Hefo nearly had that.
That time, I'm not sure if Sweetwine saw Hefo sitting there underneath.
13th play of the drive. Another long drive.
It's always an interesting conversation because all you really need is a couple of yards for the first down. They give you first and goal. But do you push it for the end zone here?
2 for 2 on third downs on this drive. Here they go again. Can they get another one? Selu pushing. This time he's met. And he's it's so close.
So close.
So it depends on the spot.
Where the spot is being marked from the outside official, it looks like they're going to give him the first down. Oh, don't say don't. He's shy.
He's just shy.
Oh, yeah. Full yard shy.
That will bring up 4th and inches for Skyridge. Yep.
So they'll effectively need to get to the 10-yard line to move the chains here.
They're 2 for 2 on fourth downs.
And these aren't big, quick scoring drives. These are long, extended drives. 18-play drive for their first touchdown.
They only need a yard. Sweetwine in the backfield, and now timeout is called. And we're going to take it with them. Tie ball game, but Skyridge knocking on the door. Right here, we've got the 14th play of the drive. Selu, 12 carries, 42 yards in this game. Quick pitch inside. Junior Coughlin's got it, cuts outside, and he has the strong auto first down.
I got to tell you, they're very excited about number 8, Junior Coughlin. And you saw the things he can do. Can catch the ball, runs good routes, very quick and shifty. His nickname, by the way, is Cheat Code. Cheat code. Any gamers out there know what I'm talking about. This is that guy that if you have him suited up on it's probably not very long before we have a high school Xbox game available now that NCAA is out and kids are getting paid.
They're loving it. It's a whole new world.
Oh yeah.
First down inside the 10-yard line. Keneal Sweetwine. He's going to keep it. Gets to the outside. And another touchdown for the Falcons.
Around the right side for number 13.
Just great design.
Touchdown, Falcons.
Because you have the fake handoff in the backfield, and you got the pursuit. Now nobody's got contained as Munga comes across the back side of that formation.
Boy, what a start to his Skyridge career, huh? Back up last year, 2 touchdowns in the first game this year, point after coming.
How long before guys are leaving early to go to college?
Yeah. Well, with that NIL money, gonna go get some. Point after drilled through.
It's coming.
15 plays, 80 yards. 7-yard TD for Kenil Sweetwine. All right, little pep talk on the sideline is Timpview defense. Hey, here's what we got to do. We got to keep them from scoring. 11, there's been 18 minutes of football played and only 3 drives.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, the time of possession, both these offenses doing a great job possessing the football and driving it up and down the field. Not short fields, by the way.
No, not at all. They've gone the distance. And here we go again. Just under 6 minutes to play here in the first half, opening day. And our scoring summary. Scoring summaries are brought to you by Weber State. No, that's player cards. I'm sorry. We got some new sponsors this year. 15 plays, 80 yards, and the touchdown.
I'll take credit for the sponsorship on that. That was sponsored by me. You're welcome. By the way, we're just, saw another touchback. How long before the NFL kickoff rules trickle down to college ball and then high school? The rule in the high school, by the way, is still if the ball is kicked into the end zone, it cannot be brought out.
Scoring summary, by the way, brought to you by Cafe Rio.
And Dilemma Harrington.
All right, here we go. Carson Rasmussen, he's going deep. Looking down that left side. Pass is caught. Those Pulas, you just cannot shut them down. This one's Keenan. The first player not named Jaron to come up with a reception.
And we thought we'd see more of Keenan Pula. Last year, he had 639 yards, 9 TDs. His brother, Jaron, 352 yards, 3 TDs. Both of them extremely capable, got good speed, good size.
35 yards on the pickup. Boy, Carson Rasmussen looks every bit the part.
I think we had an equipment issue. I had to run one of the players off for Skyridge.
All right, so after the strong auto first down, here we go. Rasmussen again. This guy's going to get another 4,000 yards. Going deep, looking to the end zone, and it's caught for the touchdown. Ambrosio comes up with the TD, and 11. He comes to Timpview from Hawaii.
How about this? During COVID, he left Hawaii, coming from Konawaina, which is on the big island of Hawaii. He comes over to Timpview, plays, then goes back to Hawaii, and now has come back to Timpview for his senior year. Great route, great protection up front for Rasmussen, giving them time to let this play develop and let Ambrosio get behind the defenders.
40-yard on the touchdown, and how about after all those long drives, 11, we just got a 2-play drive. And the touchdown.
Shaking things up down here.
Boy,
getting comfortable in their new digs. Speaking of Timpview.
Look how much he had his man beat.
Great protection up front.
Perfect pass. And the touchdown. He and another one of his teammates, Ogata, also. They're both from the same high school in Hawaii.
Yep.
Konawaina.
Yeah. You can add all those vowels in if you want to pronounce every one of them.
That's what I was doing.
But you can get away with Konawaina.
Okay.
actually played a high school preseason game when I was at Provo High School. My senior year, we went to Konawaina and played at their place. You hear a lot about, you know, kids coming out of Maui, Baldwin High School, Lahaina. Of course, that's on Maui. Then on the island of Oahu, everybody knows about Kahuku and St. Louis, and as well as Punahou.
I didn't recognize that high school. I mean, just from all the years that I've talked with you, you've always mentioned a lot of schools, but I didn't recognize this one in particular.
One of the better, bigger schools on the Big Island of Hawaii.
All right, so the return from Tavion Edwards, and Tavion gets to the outside. Could we have a kick return for a touchdown? Tavion Edwards does it. 99 yards. Oh, my word.
Almost as if Skyridge looked at Timpview and said, oh, you think you can score quick? We can score even faster than that. Great blocking up front. Nice move right there. And now it's all about the burners. Kick it into the next gear. Can I get there? I got to be one more guy able to keep the legs from getting dragged down and into the end zone.
My goodness.
Tavion Edwards, he stars on the defensive side of the ball for Skyridge and on special teams. Comes into this season after a campaign last year where he had 4 interceptions.
Well, I love our statisticians, of course. Tyson Ewing and Miley Anger. And let me.
Was it a full 100 yards?
No, you're going to lie. It was 99. But first 3 possessions of this game took 18 minutes, 3 touchdowns. The last 2 possessions took 30 seconds.
I love it.
That's phenomenal.
What a stat. That's great.
Oh, dang. I called her Miley Anger. I forgot you're married now. I don't know what your married name is. Sorry, dude. Miley and Tyson, by the way, have spent the last 3 weeks in Paris working at the Olympics.
Good for them.
Doing stats for basketball, and caught a flight back, and here they are back to work with us. So lining up to go for 2, and Sweetwine, why not? And how about that?
I love the aggressive call there.
My goodness, this is just wild.
Yeah, it's not like you don't need to be chasing points right here, but why not?
Yeah.
If you feel like your offense, you put it in the end zone on a conversion, go for it.
Well, they have a good kick.
Yeah, force the hand.
There's nothing wrong with, I mean, their kicker's good. Blake Hester, I assume he's out there. He's 54-59 on PATs last year, but as you said, grab all the points you can.
Yeah, great block up front by Ben Howard right there at the goal line to free Sweetwine for the conversion.
Wow. I'm telling you, this is just wild. I mean, the complexion of this game just keeps changing. You remember there was a time when I believe Skyridge in this game has 1 chunk play. 1.
Yeah.
And then they just return. But again, and you touched on this, Tavion Edwards is just a talent. And every time he touches the football, you got to be careful. All right, so back comes Timpview. And the Thunderbirds hit hard.
Ambrosio brought down shy of the 25-yard line, so they'll have to go the distance to put it in the end zone, but it has not been a problem for Rasmussen, who has done a great job moving this Timpview offense up and down the field.
Rasmussen, by the way, 6 for 6, 147 yards, 2 touchdowns, Alema. 14 rushing yards. He's accounted for all 161 yards from scrimmage. Rasmussen has in this game. Screen pass to the outside, trying to get something set up. And they've got another first down with Jaron Pula. Coming up at halftime, of course, is our Sugar House Furniture halftime report. We'll get a 2 News update from our 2 News studios. Our America First Credit Union Scholar athlete, Frank, will interview the recipient. We'll have stats and highlights. Look ahead to next week. It's all coming up. Sugar House Furniture halftime report.
Otherwise known as the Frank Dolce Show.
The Frank Dolce is, is he, if we can prime away from Witt.
Yeah, he's over here with Witt, and Mama Whittingham is here as well. As I mentioned, when I was at BYU, everybody hung out at the Whittingham's house, which is not far from here.
There were a lot of Whittinghams that played at BYU. Rasmussen directing traffic. He's going to get good yardage on this run. Hit hard, but not before he gets all the way down to the 45-yard line. This kid is something else.
I feel like, I get it's not the right team and it's the opposing team. I feel like I'm watching the reincarnation of McKay Hillstead in the high school ranks once again. You know, a little slider of build, but same kind of thing. You know, pointing downfield like I'm going to throw. You can't come up, or you're going to come cover me. And keeping that defense in check. Did a great job with another chunk play with his legs this time.
20 yards on the pickup. And they'll get a couple.
Net right there by Noah Bird, first to get there from his linebacker spot. A good look at Bird. Comes into the year, 34 tackles last year, 1 sack to his credit. Also had an interception last season.
For Timpview, we were talking about the lack of chunk plays for Skyridge, even though they have the lead. 6 of their 14 plays, Timpview, have been chunk plays. I mean, they've been just chewing it up. Again, our crack statisticians. You don't get that everywhere, but you get it here. Sacked, and down he goes.
Ryder Holt that time, first man there. Very active linebacking core. Noah Bird stuffing the run last play, and this time Ryder Holt, the other inside linebacker, able to get through and get inside and get to Rasmussen and drag him down. Bring up a big third down and 16.
Yeah, they got a long
for them to
way
move the
go.
chains here.
We were talking about all those chunk plays, Alemo. They need one now. 3rd downs tonight. They are 2 for 2. Can they make it 3 for 3? Rasmussen, they're going to get the ball outside, see if they can chew up some yardage that way with Ambrosio. He's going to be well short.
A nice pickup of 7 yards, but you got to get 16. Now you get to the other side of the field, and I'm curious if you just keep your offense on the field here. I don't see any activity on that Timpview sideline.
They're going to do it. Other than it possibly being a quick kick, you better love this play, because you would hate to hand Skyridge the football right here with 2.5 minutes to play in the half.
I think they'll take a timeout and discuss it.
You're right. Probably a good move. 22-14. Skyridge with the lead on that touchdown. The kick return for the score and the 2-point conversion. But it has been a great game from the start. Each team matching each other. The defending 5A champions, Timpview, looking to get back to the title game. And I'll tell you, 6A is going to be something else this year. It's Corner Canyon, Region 3, and then whoever else can sneak in.
I'm excited to see what Corner Canyon has on the field this year.
Well, they have Helaman Kasuga.
I'm looking forward to Kasuga under center. There's a look at Rasmussen. He's taking some shots, got a little bloody nose. Shove a little cotton swab up there and call it good.
You notice the eye black they have there. It has to be very much subdued this year. A new rule in high school football does not allow you to do too much in terms of like painting things, you know. On your, they're just very strict about it.
Well, you see Rasmussen getting that bloody nose taken care of. I broke my nose probably 15 times during my high school career.
Well, you can hardly tell.
Well, I opened myself up for that one.
4th down.
Some are saying, well, you guys didn't have face masks back then.
Exactly. 4th and 9. Rasmussen's going to throw for it. Firing downfield. It's almost intercepted, and they are held. Probably good that it wasn't intercepted, because that would have cost Skyridge about 30 yards.
Yeah. And he'll go to the sidelines and say, I know I was supposed to drop that one. I was, I sacrificed. I could have had the interception, but I took field position instead.
That's his first incompletion. That's how good a game Carson Rasmussen has had.
And by the way, just a little more air under that ball, and he probably would have had a 6.
Yeah, that's right. Sun has finally set on this field. What a beautiful night. It is hot during the day, but the nights are just gorgeous this time of year.
Well, this stadium is just tucked right into the mountain range.
It's beautiful.
Here, the Wasatch is just beautiful.
All right, so Keneal Sweetwine and Skyridge have the 22-14 lead and about 2.5 to operate here in the first half. And he'll fire wide open right in the middle of everyone. Boston Sorensen has the ball, and he's all the way down near the 25-yard line.
At least some of that, Fox, was when Sweetwine steps up in the pocket. All of a sudden, linebackers stop in their tracks. If he's going to run, I've got to support. Everybody is kind of stepping up, and all of a sudden, now your receiver over the middle is wide open.
30 yards on the pickup. Skyridge continuing to move the football. Both these offenses have had a lot of success tonight.
Yeah, both quarterbacks have demonstrated their ability to run the ball extremely well and make them a dual threat, and that's always trouble for a defense when your quarterback can threaten to run. That doesn't mean he has to run all the time, but if he's a threat to run, man, it's a nightmare for the defense.
Skyridge is going to take a timeout and think about this. Clock down to 1:40 in the half. But the two teams getting it done entirely different ways. Sweetwine has 68 yards passing. Rasmussen has 166 yards passing. But again, he comes in with a lot more experience.
Yeah, consider as well that one of those touchdowns was a kick return for a touchdown. So they were able to put points up on the board without their offense.
All right, so here we go back to live action. 22-14, 1:40 to operate with. And Sweetwine's pass complete. Couldn't keep his feet, or that would have been a touchdown. But yeah, Coughlin, Sweetwine really starting to warm up.
Well, that was just perfectly placed football right here. Nice play action, but good coverage. And then Coughlin goes up, high points the ball, and hauls it in.
Plenty of time on the clock. We were talking about when Timpview was going for that 4th down, the risk of handing the ball over to Skyridge at near midfield, and boy, they've really made him pay.
Yeah, technically not a short field, but in reality it is.
Yeah. All right, 1st and goal. Silu pushing, gets a couple. And another timeout taken, this time by Timpview on this one.
That time, nice job by Matthias Lesa to get in there and make some contact in the backfield to bring Silu down. Good look at that Timpview sideline, the coaching staff down the Ottawa, the closest to you. Sometimes, Ottawa is one of those coaches, they're not always on headset. Most head coaches, they're on headset the whole time.
Well, and he's got, they've had some great coaches here, and
oh, no doubt,
and still do,
and including Kerry Whittingham, who is on this staff.
Yeah. And then you had Andy Stokes, who moved back to St. George and guided Crimson Cliffs to the state championship last year. We'll have them in a couple of weeks.
Don't forget Louis Wong in that era, right?
All right, here we go. 55 seconds to play. Ball is placed at the 2-yard line, 2nd and goal. Sweetwine gonna throw, looking back of the end zone. It's caught. And how about that now? He gets 2 touchdowns running, and now he's got 1 throwing. What an opening day for that young man.
Coughlin might be getting a warning there on the celebration. They're very strict. You mentioned some of the rule changes, the eye black. But Coughlin, what a great route against this zone defense. They run that motion across the formation to try to diagnose whether or not that defense was in man or zone. They see the zone. Coughlin, it's an art. It really is to be able to run a good zone route. And Coughlin found that dead spot in the zone and is able to catch another touchdown pass.
Point after is good. Now they go up 29-14, and gives us a chance to mention our Eye in the Sky is brought to you by Sunbelt. For all your equipment needs in Alema, they brought us a good size scissor. Look at that thing.
Top shelf scissor lift. And don't forget, because the holidays, once the summer is done and the holidays are upon us, we got Halloween coming up. You want to decorate your house, get a scissor lift to put all that stuff on your roof, like the witch and all those things. And during Christmas as well. But make sure you go see our friends at Sunbelt, because they take great care of us. They'll take great care of you.
That's Boyd up there. He's got all sorts of room.
Yeah, we have a whole dance party up there
after the game. Absolutely.
I set up my DJ gear, and we can get down after the game.
DJ Alema.
DJ Ace was my name in college, you know.
No, I did not know that.
We didn't have, text messaging, so people, weren't as familiar with where the house party was.
You didn't have cell phones, much less text messaging.
I was just on kind of the borderline. Cell phone era happened while I was in college.
Cafe Rio scoring summary: 4 plays, 56 yards, and that 2-yard TD pass to Coughlin. So Sweetwine, couple TDs running and 1 throwing. And now it's kind of turned into a balanced attack for Skyridge. So they have 185 total yards and just about 90 each, passing and rushing. Quite a bit different, though, for Timpview. We'll see what they bring out there. 194 yards total, with 166 of that is passing. And Carson Rasmussen's been really good. So right now he's got 48 seconds with which to operate. They'd love to get a score before that, but he's retreating and has to just dump that ball off.
You know what we have not seen here in the first half of this game?
Frank.
Besides Frank?
Oh.
A punt.
Yeah, you're right. Everybody keeps scoring.
We have, they keep going for it on 4th down. So even if they turn the ball over on downs, which did happen one time, there's still the punting team has not taken the field yet.
That's crazy. Both teams use the same player to kick and punt, so at least they've been able to be busy on point afters and kickoffs.
Get a little action out there.
But you're right. We have not seen that. All right, 2nd down. Rasmussen again. He's going to have to dump this off to Gregory, but big hit. You could hear that. Just not a lot of room.
That was a collision. Gregory running hard. Those are the kind of hits, too, that you just love in football. Clean hit. Both guys, come out unscathed. But you hear the pads pop and you think, oh, it's fall. Football is here.
The best. Rasmussen trying to make something happen, and he's brought down from behind. And another quick. Now Skyridge is going to take a timeout. They want to get the ball back.
Great speed that time on the defensive side of the ball, and able to chase down Rasmussen. And they've been very aggressive. Speaking of Skyridge, the Falcons have been very aggressive in this game. They go for a 2-point conversion when they weren't chasing points. Now they take the timeout so they can try to get the ball back and put some more points on the board. I think what they realize is, we've seen what that offense from Timpview can do. We're going to try to make as many points as we can in this first half of the game, or every opportunity that we get.
Well, and you were just talking about this. Guess what? The first punt of the game.
There we go.
You called for it. And here it comes.
It's like we need a punt before the end of the half. Well, here we go.
And I'll tell you what, Skyridge is going to have a little bit of time.
They might even come after this. They got everybody on the line of scrimmage here. They'll set up for a return.
And here we go on the return. Not much, very well read. So they're going to have a 55-yard field with 18 seconds.
Now it's Coughlin back there returning the punt. I'll tell you, he has made a debut here for Skyridge in a very big way, coming up from Dixie High School where he played last year. I'll tell you, every season now, Foxy, as we come into it, the list of transfers where
it's just huge.
It used to be kind of rare, few and far in between. Now everybody's got transfers that are rolling in.
And it used to be very rare. And they're just going to take a knee. And satisfied to go into the locker room leading 29-14. But what a half it has been. A lot of fireworks in this one. Some long sustained drives in the early going, but it's just been a scoring fest in the last few minutes. And the teams will head to the locker room and discuss their plan for the second half. 132nd season of high school football in the state of Utah. We are underway, starting a night earlier than everyone else, as the defending 5A champion Timpview Thunderbirds in their new stadium, trailing Skyridge 29-14. Halftime coming your way next. You'll meet our America First Credit Union scholar athlete on America First Credit Union's Thursday Night Lights.
First broadcast of the year, first high school football game of the season. Skyridge, the visiting team, leading Timpview. First time on their home field in a few years. It's 29-14. The Falcons on top of the T-Birds. Take a look at our first half highlights brought to you by America First Credit Union, where members come first. And Neil Sweetwine getting it done with his legs a couple of times early on in this one. A little fake handoff and then off the right side into the end zone. 7-0. The visitors on top. But Rasmussen, another new quarterback, he finds his man in the end zone for the touchdown. That's Pula for the touchdown. A little fake handoff once again off the right side. Similar play for Sweetwine, 14-7 at that point. But here comes Timpview. They will answer, and it is Rasmussen this time going deep to Ambrosio for the touchdown. And it's all tied up at 14 apiece. What would happen next? How about some special teams? This time you got a long run from the goal line all the way to the end zone. Tavian Edwards will take it to the house, and that will put Skyridge back on top. And they would continue to pile it on going into the half. Here's right before the end of the second quarter, connects in the back of the end zone with Coughlin, Junior Coughlin coming up from Dixie. Sweetwine with his first touchdown pass of his junior season. Here's a look at our first half stats. Obviously, the numbers pretty even. Outside of that one special teams play, it really was just about break even for both these offenses. But you see the way they're doing. Rushing yards certainly in favor of Skyridge. Passing yards in favor of Rasmussen and the T-Birds. Third down conversions, a bunch of third down conversions happening in this game. A lot of fourth down conversions in this game. So far in the first half, only one punt very late in the second quarter of this one. Time of possession almost irrelevant really at this point. We'll come back. Third quarter action is on the way. The second half is coming up. Skyridge leading Timpview 29-14 on KJazz. It is Thursday Night Lights, brought to you by America First Credit Union.
98 state titles. Did they just say that? Wow, that's in all sports.
Good grief.
Matt Smith does such a great job putting high school together. And we do appreciate that. Second half is underway, and here we go. And it will start with a Victor's Tires touchback. And Timpview gets the football first. And you know the way that first half ended, they would love to march down the field and get into the end zone.
Saw the Pula brothers walking into the huddle there for Timpview, number 5 and number 3. Both of them very active in the first half of this game, both with big plays. Rasmussen looking pretty comfortable as the new quarterback coming over from Pleasant Grove, putting up some nice numbers in the first half of this game. Showed what he can do with his legs as well, not just a strong arm. This guy can run. I was mentioning, Frank, it reminds me a little of McKay Hillstead, who played at Skyridge, obviously, up to Utah State, now down at BYU.
Mikhail Hillstead was a terrific player. He was a special player.
Rasmussen first play out, screen, plenty of room, first down yardage and more, and that's a way to start the second half. I'll tell you what, Alema, these Pulas, they're all right.
Well, they got great natural ability and athletic talent and good size. I mean, a lot of that is just genetics, but what they've been able to do with that, both of them, Keenan and Jaron Pula, as this one is coming back because of a hold.
That's 24 yards wiped off right there.
But they're great big targets. I tell you, we always talk about, Frank, you can attest to this. You're a new quarterback coming in. Your best friend is probably your offensive line and a good running game.
Absolutely.
Right? But if you can have a couple of good targets out there, that's just a bonus.
Yeah. If you have a couple guys that you can just depend on, you know that if you throw it within that radius, they're going to come down with the ball. They give you that great confidence from the quarterback position. It's a great luxury to have for any offensive unit.
So here we go again. Rasmussen just chucks that ball out to Jaron Pula.
We get some of those penalty yards back.
Frank, he threw that while he was just, it looked like he was bouncing off his front foot.
3 steps, 3-step half rollout, and he slings the ball. I really like the athleticism, the ability to throw the ball on the run. And he's a crafty, he's a nifty runner with the football as well. Very good at the quarterback position. You
were spending some time with Coach Whittingham. He's been famous over the years for talking about running quarterbacks and what a threat they are to your defense. Just a nightmare. Both these quarterbacks have shown the ability to run.
Rasmussen trying to buy some more time. He's in trouble, though, and knocked out of bounds. We'll remind you that tonight's game is brought to you by America First, Utah's #1 credit union. Join the winning team today at your neighborhood branch or at AmericaFirst.com.
Malafau almost got home, but nice job by Rasmussen, just dodging and making some moves and able to get upfield. I think he might have lost a yard or two in the process to bring up 3rd down and about 7.
Boy, don't you just love our Utah nights, even in August? It's hot during the day, but when that sun goes down, beautiful night for football. Fans enjoying it now. And a pretty good game going on. As Alema said, big 3rd down coming. They need 7 yards. Sets up the screen, and it's well read. There's just nowhere to go. It looked like Griffin Coons was the one that really held the play up while his buddies arrived.
Nice job. Coons came in. Malafau was there.
The timing on that screen, it was a good call. That's a good call in that situation. The timing on it with the offensive line getting to that second level to make the block was a little bit off. That's just kind of, you can't replicate game speed in practice.
Agreed. Nice read that time by Coons. He was able to diagnose that quickly.
So we get our second punt of the game, first of this second half, as the Skyridge defense has held. And they're looking like they may have pretty good field position. Everybody just kind of froze after that snap. Ball's fielded at midfield, and Junior Coughlin's got some room, and Junior headed around that right side. A flag came in late, but he's all the way down inside the University of Utah red zone. Let's check that flag.
Possible block in the back late there at the end, kind of at that pile that ended up inside the 20-yard line. Wait to see what the call is here, but we talked about cheat code, right? Junior Coughlin, the kid coming up from Dixie, making a splash here up north.
Speaking of Dixie, we have them on the air next week against Mountain Ridge. We have a couple weeks in a row of Southern Utah teams coming up. We'll have Dixie at Mountain Ridge next week, and the following week we have Crimson Cliffs, the 4A champs, at Springville.
What a run they had last year to Rice Eccles.
Oh man,
great to see them.
So much fun.
Great success.
So 35-yard punt, 20, and the great field position, though. That ball was a little behind and nearly picked off. Dangerous pass. Boy, you talk about
looking for Coughlin again that time. And he's just trying to direct that in. I don't know if that came out of his hand. You're a former quarterback. What was that?
That was a wounded. We call that a wounded duck. That's what that was. You shoot that out of the sky as soon as you get a chance. It just slipped out of Sweetwine's hand as he tried to lace it in there and floated on him, nearly picked off.
First down for Keneal Sweetwine. Had a pretty good first half, 91 yards passing.
They might have to take a timeout here. We're under 4 seconds.
Yeah, they're going to have to hurry.
They'll have
2, 1, just got it. There's the option. Pitch back. Silu's got it. Silu's got the corner. And Silu's not only got the red zone, but a first down.
I'll tell you what, you want to get the attention of college scouts, and there are a ton of them here from inside the state. Utah State, BYU, Weber State, Utah all being represented. Watch the break. Coughlin out here with the stop block. What a great block outside. You want to get some attention from a receivers coach? That'll get it done.
18 yards on the pickup. Silu 14 carries, 63 yards already in this game. And this time nothing doing on that right side as Ikopo was met.
Great job coming in. That was Pu'amanga. 6'2", 200 pounds, entering his senior campaign here.
We've had a few Mangas come through.
Indeed.
Over the years.
Across the state.
Yeah.
Not everywhere. All down here in Utah County, but.
Second down and goal. Sweetwine's going to throw. Looking, firing, incomplete. Third down coming.
Timpview did a great job that time of disguising what they were in. They backed out of all kinds of different situations here. I'm not sure if Sweetwine was able to figure out what the defense was running.
We watched Sweetwine warm up. He looks really good. The ball comes off his hand really nicely, and he's made a couple good passes tonight. He still needs to take that next step. Maybe first game jitters a little bit, a little more accuracy with the football in the throwing game. To go along with that run game, this is going to be a very good offense.
3 for 7 on third downs, and they got it. Or no, they did not.
Beautiful job that time.
What a defensive stand.
Beautiful job coming up and making the stop.
Make that 3 for 8 on third down conversions now. And we were waiting to see a punt, got a couple of them. Now we're going to get our first field goal of the game.
Well, Lesa just was fantastic, going out of the flat, reading it, coming up, and breaking through the line of blockers and getting to the ball carrier.
Blake Hester on to attempt the 24-yard field goal. He was 5 of 7 last year. Bad snap.
He just threw the ball down. It's free.
So how about Timpview coming up with a big defensive stand? And no points for Skyridge.
Ryder Holt able to make a big tackle there to keep that one from going the other way. Now the snap was okay. Ball's on the ground.
So other than taking a knee at the end of the half, that is the first possession in which Skyridge has not scored. We'll be back. Thank you, Tony Parks, for that memorable moment. Tony, by the way, on B's duty for about half the season.
We'll see you soon. We'll see you soon, Tony Parks.
All right, here we go. Carson Rasmussen back. And he'll start with the ball on the ground, trailing 29-14. But it has been a very good game. Chivas Gregory with that carry. He came over from Cedar Valley.
Great discipline by Tokelau that time on a counter play. Stayed home. Gets a little love from Toilolo.
Plenty of time left in this football game for Timpview to climb back in. They just got a run over there at the end of the first half, and they blew this thing open by a couple scores.
Rasmussen in trouble. Down he goes.
Ryder Holt. That time they brought the whole linebacking core. Great call defensively by the Falcons. And Holt was the first one in there. See the linebackers creeping up a little bit, and Holt's going to come through really untouched. And he gets to Rasmussen and brings him down.
You know, Lemon, Frank, that they obviously know it's difficult to run on Skyridge, because that last play prior to this one was only the second rushing attempt by someone other than Rasmussen. Everything else was just him running.
Well, the way that they line up in that 3-4 defense, and the three guys up front, Tokilau, Malufau, and Toilolo, are tough to get around or get through. And as you see Toilolo in the middle here, they'll move these guys all over the place and switch them around.
Yeah,
and then that linebacking core is solid.
It's really good. It's a very active defense. It's an aggressive attacking style defense. We talked to the coaches before the game, and they said that was the game plan, to be aggressive at the line of scrimmage.
Well, and more perspective, Timpview 210 yards of total offense. Rasmussen is responsible for 209 of it. Going deep over the middle, that was almost intercepted, just a little bit high, or Tavion Edwards had a pick. I'm not sure where he was going with that, guys, because there wasn't a receiver anywhere near it.
Give credit again to that rush that came in, because there was pressure coming from Ulcer from that outside, and I think it just kind of squoze the window. Is squoze a word?
Squoze.
Yeah,
You just said it.
It squeezed.
Squoze it.
Squoze the window.
Can I squoze something in here?
Yes.
Pula was open, but Pula didn't continue his route, and so there are a little miscommunication between Rasmussen and his receiver.
All right, this ball is going to roll near midfield, a little bit shy of that. So good field position once again coming up for Skyridge. The Falcons leading 29-14 on American First Credit Union's Thursday Night Lights.
I think, the best burger joint is the one closest to campus.
Yeah, there you go. Player cards brought to you by Weber State University. Build the future you want to see. I love the way these guys walk up to the camera this year. They're all very, spinning around, doing whatever. Very creative. All right, ball goes back to Skyridge, leading 29-14. Canil Sweetwine has gone the distance. And this young man, he has been nearly unstoppable. Zayden Silu carries the ball once again and goes over 70 yards now rushing on the game.
Well, it's a beautiful job by Selu, because he had a little bit of a hesitation in the backfield and let the blocking set up, and then was able to turn on the gas and just get through that hole.
15 carries, 74 yards for Selu.
Well, the run game for Skyridge tonight has been fantastic. And I'll let you talk about this. You were talking with the offensive line coach before the game. He mentioned a few guys, and they have really done a nice job here tonight. Look at that hole.
There he goes again around that right side, and he's got a strong auto first down.
Well, it's a follow-up on what Frank was saying. Bob Stevens, who I played with at BYU, is the offensive line coach for Skyridge. His son was a great offensive lineman here last year and is serving a mission. He'll be home in 10 months. But the offensive line, they're saying they've got three guys that are not just college players. They're Sunday guys. They're talking about Benjamin, Afalava, and Howard.
Sweetwine looked like he was going to pass. It's a quarterback draw. He'll keep big hit. And he plows ahead for another first down.
You saw Big Ben Howard, right? He's 6'4", 305 pounds. I think he weighs more than that. On the other tackle is Benjamin, who's 6'5", 325. Probably weighs more than that. Afalava, 6'5", 320. Probably weighs more than that. Luke Davies, 6 foot 280. Might weigh a little more than that. Fangupo in the middle, 6 foot 274. Probably weighs a little more than that. These guys are beasts.
We're talking a one-ton offensive line.
Sweetwine looking, firing, end zone, intercepted. Just go down. There you go.
But make it exciting.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
you look at these, you're like, dude, just take the knee.
Well, the Pulas have been on display both offensively and defensively.
Yeah, that's been Sweetwine's issue tonight, is he's thrown into coverage. He's been a little inaccurate downfield. Now, I like the way the guy throws the football. I think he's very athletic. But if he can tighten up that pass game, to go along with that run game, this Skyridge offense is really going to be on me. I think the run game clearly has kept them in this game tonight, but a big play there.
Here's what I would say about that. You can afford to let your younger quarterback make mistakes like that when you got a 29-14 lead, right? It affords him that opportunity. Now, make mistakes here, but you got to get ready for region play, and you don't make those mistakes there.
Chivas Gregory, nothing doing on that carry. Now, Lemmy, you're right about Pula. He made that play and trotted right back out again on offense. When you're a two-way player at the 5A or 6A level, you are really, really good. You're so good the coaches can't keep you off the field.
No, you know, you have to be on the field all the time. I'd keep those guys on the field. I hope he's playing special teams,
yeah,
too.
Ideally, at the 5A and 6A level, you want to be able to have guys that are specialized, offense only, defense only. But when you got talented players like the Pula brothers, then you say, you guys are playing all the time.
Second down, Rasmussen. And Rasmussen in trouble again. How about that little improvisation? Gets the ball off. They'll get a few yards on that. That's going to help a lot. So now you got a much more manageable 3rd and 5 when he was looking at a sack.
Well, yeah, Toilolo had his jersey and was about to bring him down. Malufao lost his lid. He's going to have to go to the sideline for a play.
You see Chivas Gregory limping off.
Yeah, he's looks like he's a little banged up, and he'll come to the sideline.
Yeah, this is a great. Gregory is a player at the running back spot. Timpview is really going to count on this year. I hate to see him limping off the field.
They got a host of running backs that they can bring in. Afu, Wilkerson, Richards, and Tuaone.
3rd down, Rasmussen. Oh, great timing pattern, and he hits Pula. Now they're saying incomplete. He thinks he had it. Oh, this might be a Robert J. DeBry. You make the call. Frank and Alema, did he have possession of this ball?
That's a nice looking pass.
No, did not.
No.
Good call.
He had possession, but he didn't make an athletic move.
So you sustain.
Yeah, and great job that time by Ambrosio. And you're trained as a defensive back to pull the arms away from the ball, right? So he's trying to get those arms and get them away from him being able to grasp the ball. Great job by Ambrosio.
Shout out to, I got to give a shout out to our officials, Paul Benz, Ken Faber, Craig Oswald, Red Ogden, Courtney Littledyke. I mean, these guys, really good crew. We know them well. They've done a lot of games as this punt settles in at the 41-yard line, and they're a very good crew. They have a foul recorder listed as Bob Millam. I haven't seen the foul recorder before on my officials list.
Not even sure what that one is.
No, that's the guy. He's been around for a few years, the foul recorder. And he wanders up and down the sideline, aligned with the referees and the officials. And then when they call a penalty, he has a booklet.
And he writes it down.
And then he's marking it down in the booklet, so they have a record of all of the
like writing it down in this this day and age of technology. We're writing stuff down.
Yeah. Well, there's no school like the old school.
Yeah. Well, I like that.
We have a foul recorder on our broadcast too. I'm not going to tell you
foul,
who it is.
Foul language.
Keep track of you. You saw the numbers there for Sweetwine as he's really starting to settle in this game, but
late flag
he's getting so much help from his running attack that it really helps out. But as Alema said, it's a flag back at the line of scrimmage.
By the way, on special teams, I got to mention that punt was almost blocked as it left the punter's foot. Let's see what the penalty is here. And this is the kind of stuff, as you hear the call. Some of this stuff is stuff that as a coach you can chalk up to first game of the season. That typically those procedure penalties.
Yeah.
Holding penalties, it's like, hey, man, we're not supposed to be having a holding penalties in the first game.
None of that. We haven't seen that a lot. We haven't seen a lot of procedure penalties here.
No, we have not. Rare for a first game, right?
Yeah. The other thing we usually see in first game is somebody's going to fall down with cramps. Now, that's going to happen.
Keeps the ball. Good carry. Almost back to the original line of scrimmage. Hey, you already know RC Willey has everything for your home, but you may not know. We taught you this last year. But hey, they have gaming systems including PS5, Xbox Series X, Nintendo Switch, and Arcade One Up. R.C. Willie. You know what the kids love now? The college game, because it has specific players in it.
Oh, my boys are going crazy.
Yeah, they're going nuts over there.
They're going, yeah. Gabriel and Isaac are just, when they get home, it's like, oh, we're going to play the NCAA again.
They love it because, you know, you can be Cam Rising or whatever.
Not a single one of them has decided to be a Lemma Harrington at BYU 1980s. None of them.
We should do
like, what's going on?
Let's do the throwback edition.
Are you even? Yeah, okay.
We could have Dave Fox as the broadcaster because he was broadcasting back in the 1800s. And then it could be, you know, a Lemma Harrington in the backfield and Dolce
is Dolce in? Dolce ought to be
handing the ball off to a Lemma Harrington. How about that?
Would be
big third down now. When
you have a guy like Selu in the backfield, and he's not in the backfield right now, but he has been fantastic tonight. That gives an offense and a quarterback a lot of confidence.
Yeah,
keep an eye on number 8, Junior Coughlin.
Or as the Lemma calls him,
cheat code.
And down goes Sweetwine, first sack of the night.
We talked so much about Mocassini off the top of the broadcast. Now we get a chance to highlight some of the things that he's capable of. Coming in from that middle linebacker position at the line of scrimmage, untouched, comes in and brings Sweetwine to the ground.
11-yard loss, and they'll have to kick it away.
Well, you know what doesn't give you confidence is when the linebacker walks up to the line of scrimmage and then nobody blocks him. And then he dumps you in the backfield. That's a great play there by Timpview, trying to find their way, fight their way. Oh, and they might have a chance here.
Yep, snap went over Blake Kester's head, and
he recovered it.
It is recovered. It is recovered for a touchdown.
If you're the punter, you got to kick that thing out of the back of the end zone.
And look who it is, Lemma.
He kind of tried to kick it, but it was like a. Is that Pula?
That is Pula.
He kind of tried to kick it out, but it was a lackadaisical effort. Let's take a look at the replay.
You got to get back here, and you got to get this thing out of the back of the end zone.
Yeah, it has to be in the cheap seats. Whoop.
Great job by Pula to make the hustle play to get to the ball. He didn't corral it the first time, but gets to it after that. And that is a touchdown for Timpview.
Oh, man, they needed that. You know, any way you can get it done, special teams, whatever.
Well, think about how special teams has played a role in this game. You got a kickoff return for a touchdown. Now you got a big play on a muffed punt.
Well, how about
ends up a touchdown?
How about this defense? I mean, this defense right now has an interception in the series before. They make a stop on third down, force the punt, and then they score a touchdown on the bad snap. That defense has clawed their way back into this football game.
And consider that big play right there was set up by the Mocassini sack.
First points of this second half, and it's scored by Timpview, and we got us a ball game. 29-21, a minute to play, third quarter, and Pula, he's got the interception, he's got the recovery for the touchdown.
He has the enviable hairdo.
He could be an MVP candidate.
He's the triple threat.
Well, the question is, you know, which Pula is it, or do you give it to both? Jaron Pula in the very beginning of the game at the receiver position had an outstanding first half.
Yeah.
And then Keenan Pula, almost as if it was his turn to shine, he stepped up here late in the second quarter and into the second half.
That ball was snapped into the second half.
Well,
wow, what a turn of events here quickly. So now Skyridge looking to rebound, and once again Tavion Edwards, dangerous return man, as you can see, but if you can hold him to around the 30-yard line, you're doing a good job.
Flags are down.
I'll tell you, special teams is the one thing that you expect to see a lot of flags in the first game.
Yeah.
Because anybody that's out there coaching football, that special teams for the most part becomes like an afterthought. Oh, the game's tomorrow. Oh, let's work on punt.
Oh, we got to work on kickoff.
We got to work on kickoff.
We got kickoff coverage. Yeah.
Here's Paul Binns to explain the call.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't know how they get it all in, how they fit it all in, and then special teams just becomes we have to do that.
All right, well, they're going to march this one off, block
10 yards from the end of the road.
in the back. And while they do that, our upcoming schedule brought to you by McGee's Awards and Engravings. It's time to be recognized in our upcoming schedule. Tomorrow, we head to Lehigh as they will host Davis. Lehigh ranked number 2 in the preseason in 6A, the swan song season for Ed Larson, longtime coach. He's won 3 titles. They're looking forward to that game tomorrow, Davis at Lehigh. Right now, we got a good one. Approaching a minute to play here in the third quarter. 29-21, Skyridge. 6A Skyridge, state champions 2 years ago. And 5A Timpview, defending state champions.
Good coverage by Hefo, you see right there.
Silu back in the backfield. He's had a heck of a game. Well, we've got a number of MVP candidates. I know for Timpview, I like number 3 if they were to win. We'll see where it goes for Skyridge. And here comes Silu. And he gets a couple.
Yeah, Silu's never moving backwards.
Yeah, he is one of those I refer to as forward lean runners. He's always going to pick up yardage, even if he gets contact in the backfield. Oh, you predicted the cramp.
Called it.
Right?
I called it.
Muscle cramp.
Always.
Yep,
right
first game of the
This time of
season.
year, yeah.
Yep, there
Where's
you go.
the pickle juice? Oh, it's too late for that.
Pickle juice.
Too late for that.
You got to do that during the week.
Right?
Where's the pickle juice?
Although Lemon he would just pour it on rather than drink it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would rub it in. He would pour the
Yeah.
pickle juice on the cramp and then rub it in. And then he was good to go.
I had this brilliant idea, and I was telling somebody, I said,
here we go.
hey,
I love this.
we got to
I
make
love this
pickle
already.
juice soda and start selling it.
Yes.
Okay.
And people are going to buy it for the football season.
Yeah.
So I do some due diligence. It's already out there. And it's been out there forever.
Good work.
Well, you know
And
why?
we're still buying
You know
pickles
why?
at the grocery store and drinking the pickle juice when you can actually buy it probably on Amazon and just get straight pickle juice.
You know why it's out there? Because it was a great idea. Yeah, it was a great business
And
idea.
one of these days, I'm going to have a great idea that nobody else has capitalized
What
on.
could have been
already.
by Lemma Harrington.
Yeah, what?
3rd and 6. It's a big play here for both sides of the ball. Showing pressure. Timpview, here they come. And Sweetwine trying to get free, and he's going to get the first down. They lost contain, and he made him pay.
I'll tell you what, Sweetwine just showed some next level speed. His ability to get away from the 2 defenders that were in the backfield, that was a great play by Sweetwine. Watch this, he's got a couple of guys eyeing him and trying to track him down. Duncan Strong, one of them, and just cannot get there.
16 yards on the pickup.
Got to the edge. That was impressive. Picked up the first down, also impressive. Sweetwine, very athletic.
You know, we just got done watching the Olympics. That was a good 400 back stretch stride.
Oh, right there. He came off the turn.
Yeah,
did you see how he came off the turn?
Yes, he did.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing, apparently. Now there's a time.
I watch everything differently now. I have a son, Gabriel, we went to Junior Olympics this summer.
Yeah.
And he ran the 400. And so I watch it a little bit differently now, including the Olympics, right? And I always see guys 6'4". I bet you got a nice long stride. I wonder what his 400 time is. We can try to convert this guy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, the clock expired. Penalty. Here we go.
Out the white, out the white.
And trying to scamper around that right side, get back to the original line of scrimmage.
Probably the last play here of the third quarter.
And that will do it. So the third quarter, well, we had, 43 points scored in the first half, 7 in the third quarter.
None of them
No
offensive.
on offense, yeah. Not one. All right, we'll take a break. Come back for the fourth quarter. Should be a thrilling finish here on American First Credit Union's Thursday Night Lights. Tony Parks delivering for us.
You know, where does Tony get all that information?
Well, he won't tell us because then we'll do it ourselves.
Proprietary.
I mean, he comes up with this amazing stuff.
All right, here we go to start the fourth quarter, and Skyridge trying to protect this lead, and a flag just came flying in.
Oh, that's deep. That looks like it's going to go. Yeah, it looks like it's going to go against Skyridge on that block. I wonder if one of the players was engaged and then got blocked low. No, just a hold.
Offense, number 79.
Coming back.
Just a simple holding call. That's it.
Interesting, you know, we always talk about halftime adjustments and what happens when you come out to take the field in the second half. And all that scoring that took place in the first half of this game, and then no offensive touchdowns here in the second half.
All right, Sweetwine going deep, and that ball picked off, read it all the way. And here we go. And what a game for this defense of Timpview as they're trying to fight their way back into this. And the interception made by, is that Galliai?
Yeah, that's Galliai.
Yeah.
Isa Galliai did a great job of just reading that. He was dropping back, looked up, saw the ball in the air, made an adjustment, and comes back to it. Watch him break on the ball right here, and he comes up, undercuts the pass, and great return to put Timpview in a great position here in the fourth quarter. Well, give credit to Sweetwine, comes up and makes the tackle on the interception that he threw. Again, just a nice read by Galliai.
We got an injured player. While they attend to him, we'll take a break and come on back. How about this? In the first half, there were 8 drives, 6 touchdowns combined. Second half, 7 drives, no offensive touchdowns yet. Completely different game. Rasmussen going deep. He wants it all here. That one was almost intercepted.
Well, in the second half, Timpview's offense has been all defense.
Yeah,
they
exactly.
have taken over the game.
Well, and conversely, Frank, Skyridge, their offense, here's their drives. Fumble, interception, fumble, interception. That's rough after that first half.
Absolutely, and I think Sweetwine got away with a couple in the first half. He's taken some chances in the second half. Timpview's capitalized.
This is a huge drive right now.
Oh, yeah.
Big possession for Timpview.
Carson Rasmussen pass outside. Caught. Pickup of 4.
This might be a little premature, but you score here, Frank. Do you chase the points? Do you go for 2, or do you kick the extra point? And
yeah, I don't think with 9, 10 minutes left in the football game, especially the way your defense is playing, and Skyridge a little uncertain on the offensive side, I think you have to give your defense a chance to come back, to come up with another stop if you score here.
I'm going to say that your logic is sound, but I will bet you that's not what they're thinking. So we'll see. I'll bet you if they score here, they go for 2. Not saying it's right or wrong, and well, that was weird.
Yeah, I think the ball got knocked out of Rasmussen's hands as he was being sacked. Now that's going to bring up a 4th down situation. Terrific call on the defensive side.
I appreciate the aggressiveness from the defense here, and Toilola was able to get in there, as was Tokilau. And it looked like as Rasmussen was going to the ground, he thought, nah, I'm going to do a little pitch out here and try to get the ball out.
So it's 4th and 13, and short of a quick kick, they're going to go for it.
Again, kind of a no man's land, down in distance field position right now. The clock was almost, the clock was almost down, and they were able to get a timeout. Dani Atawaya was able to get out there and get the attention of the officiating crew and call a timeout.
It looks like now Skyridge has had some good success pressuring at the defensive front this half.
Well,
but it
Frank,
looked like they were lined up with just 3, dropping 8 into coverage on this 4th and long situation. How do you guys feel about that?
Well, to illustrate your point, Frank, they have 8 tackles for loss for 35 yards, so you are correct.
And I would say this, if you're only going to rush 3, then I would make sure that somebody is still spying Rasmussen, and that you don't let him break contain. If you let him get outside and you only got a 3-man rush and everybody else is dropping back in coverage, that's danger.
That's a lot of running room.
Here we go. Rasmussen on 4th down. And
look at who.
Toilolo's got him.
yeah,
Look who.
with one hand.
That was
And
like
he
a
could not get
rodeo.
free.
Toilolo grabbed him from around his blocker, held on to him, grabbed the other hand around, got him from the other side, and finally brought him down.
That is, did you say, an unbelievable.
This kid has been
individual
doing
effort.
this since he was a freshman at Skyridge. Now watch this. Good blocking. He gets a hand on it. Still got a blocker in between the two of them. Switches hands and still drags him to the ground.
There's a flag in the middle of the field. I'm not sure what this would be. That wouldn't be a horse collar, I don't think.
No, there might be a little face mask in there.
It might be a face mask on the offensive lineman.
We'll see. But that's a terrific individual effort.
You know, I'll tell you, it's been a little slow for Toilolo in getting some attention from some of the bigger schools. Take note, this is the kind of player that you're getting. Is a guy that's got a motor like that.
Yeah. So we've got an unsportsmanlike. So that'll back Skyridge up.
Did they give a
Doesn't
number?
affect.
I mean, looking at
Yeah,
the Toilolo reaction, I wonder if it was called on him, but I'm not sure if I know, unless the whistle had been blown and we didn't hear it, and he still had Rasmussen in his grasp and didn't let go.
At any rate, crucial drive right here, really, for both teams. And they're, of course, content to try to run that clock as we get into this 4th quarter. And they'll get a couple of yards.
And they have the tools to be able to run the ball. You know, we did a game, I think 2 or 3 years ago out at Mountain Ridge, and they had the right side of the line that was just like, it had you salivating if you're a running back. And I was thinking I would run that side of the line every single play.
Every single time.
And I'll tell you, looking at this right side between Benjamin and Afalava, I would run the right side every single play.
Yeah. Just follow those guys. Maybe a jab step left, but then go back right.
Sweet wine. Good protection again.
No.
Threw it right into traffic. Pula again. Another interception. And this defense has been sensational. And Sweetwine, Frank, has just taken too many chances. I mean, he threw that into a heap of traffic.
And guess what?
Pickle juice.
Pickle
I'll
juice.
tell you, nobody's mad at Keenan Pula right now.
No, but drink your pickle juice. What a terrific play right there. And Sweetwine, again, he's just taken a few too many chances here. Now, you have to be able to see all that traffic in front of you. He just didn't get his eye on Pula, who sank back in underneath the route to make that interception. Terrific play by the defensive back.
Well, opportunities for Timpview.
Well, Sweetwine, guys, with 3 interceptions.
Yeah.
That is tough to overcome, but they still have that lead.
He's a very talented guy, Sweetwine is, and if he gets those things under control, he's going to be very difficult to manage. But this is a good and opportunistic Timpview defense.
I don't know if you ever cramp like this, what Pula's going through. I
did this morning getting out of bed. Yeah, absolutely.
When I was in high school, I used to cramp like this. Obviously, Hawaii is a humid place. And I remember just going through that calf cramp that you just seemingly cannot get rid of.
Yeah.
Sometimes creep up into that hamstring.
It's the hamstring.
The hammy.
The hamstring is the one. I once had a cramp that went from
the
top of my hamstring to the bottom of my Achilles.
Our viewers are pleased.
And I could
Thank
not,
you.
I could not
Todd,
get rid
let's
of that
mute
thing.
his mic.
It was unbelievable.
There he is. That looks better.
But I finished. I finished the game.
Well,
I
good,
didn't come
good
out.
for you.
I didn't come out.
You are the man.
If I can give a suggestion, right, for outside of pickle juice.
For the crampers.
And this some have heard me talk about this before. Some are probably a little offended by me bringing this up. Pantyhose.
No, I've heard that. Athletes do that, yeah.
You mean like Joe
it improves it improves your circulation from my senior year in high school all through my time at BYU. Pantyhose.
Uh-huh. So that was for cramps.
That's what he said. All right, first down at the 15-yard line, and that discussion of if they score, do they go for 2, crops up again. And we shall see. Rasmussen keeps it. Huge hole, cuts back, and pushes his way, but he stopped just shy of the end zone. 1-yard line, 1st and goal coming. Wow, what a play.
Well, you're playing the aggressive nature of this defense, and you go with a hard play action to your running back and then a keeper from your quarterback, right? You got Toy Lolo trying to, come off the edge and loses contain that time on Rasmussen. Now, the question was that a game-saving touchdown or a game-saving tackle? Not just a touchdown-saving tackle.
I mean, it's
Can
first and
the
goal.
defense from Skyridge put together a goal line stand here?
And Donnie gets a timeout.
Well,
as he sprinted out there.
This is an interesting offensive backfield.
Well, he's got
Galliai
right in the backfield.
Exactly.
The linebacker.
That's exactly right. In kind of a power back scenario. And I don't think they were lined up correctly. So now they're talking about it.
We're in this situation because of 5 Skyridge turnovers in just the second half. I mean, they were in control at halftime. 5 turnovers in the second half, leading to 7 points off those turnovers, and now they could double that. And Keenan Pula, by the way, guys, 2 interceptions and a fumble recovery on defense. 3 receptions, 53 yards on offense.
Well, the fumble recovery also was for a touchdown.
Was it right? What a game he's had.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
So they will leave Galliai in there. They just kind of straightened out what he's supposed to be doing. We'll see if he gets the ball. Here we go. Galliai's got it. Pushes.
He's going to be shy. He'll be shy of the goal line here.
That's tough. That's tough to put a linebacker in that situation. You noticed, I mean, you're the running back.
Yeah.
But he stutter stepped up. He never kind of
got and I'm sure that Galliai has played plenty of running back in his day.
Yeah.
But this is the kind of play that has been implemented or put in late in your fall camp.
And they're keeping him in there. Rasmussen scoots up. They're pushing his way in. Do they have it? Still no signal.
They were able to get him sideways, and he did not get in.
Wow.
Oh. They got down to the 1-inch line, and that defense from Skyridge was able to turn him sideways and get him away from getting towards the end zone. Watch this right here at the goal line. He's going forward, and they'll start to turn him sideways and get him going from east to west.
No push by that offensive line. Now, this is where you need to lean on that offensive line to get
Third
you
down.
across.
Here we go again. This time he's going to take it outside. There's a whistle
The
blown.
question was somebody in the neutral zone, or did somebody jump?
A flag came out immediately.
Well, that's a safe penalty for Skyridge if it was, because, yeah, I mean, what are they going to do, move the ball up an inch?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd keep doing it.
Half the distance to the goal.
Right.
Yeah, now you've seen just about everything they have in their goal line package.
Still 3rd down. 3rd and inches.
Yeah, the question is, can Timpview get 6 inches here? Can they get this across the plane? All they have to do is break the front part of that stripe.
Galliai stays in the backfield. Rasmussen still in the gun. Gives to Galliai. He pushes this time.
He's in.
And he's in. 2-point game. Now the question is, do they go for 2?
Great job by that offensive line for Timpview. Atawaya along with Aloisio. And they went right at the meat of that defense, right at Toilolo.
And they didn't even look at the kicking team. They are leaving the offense on the field. This is a big play here.
Yeah, well, it's not a bad decision. I mean, if you don't make it, you put your defense back on the field, they make a stop. A field goal still puts you on top.
What do you mean? You were all against this. I told you they were going to do it.
Wait, I was just offering altering perspectives.
Rasmussen to throw. Going call. That's tough.
Yeah.
Flag.
Super tough.
Here we go.
Got knocked down.
Flag in the end zone.
You know, guys, I think that ball is going to be out of the end zone anyway.
I don't know. It was being thrown to number 3, Pula. And
actually, Frank almost caught that ball. It came right here towards the back shack.
Here's a good look at it.
Take a look. Frank, see if Frank had some hands.
Yeah. If he hadn't been held up, he caught that. Yeah, right. So now it's a shorter conversion. 1 yard to tie. All right, Rasmussen, Gallier stayed in there this entire time.
Well, you got to consider that they're dealing with some injuries with Gregory.
Absolutely. Here we go. Gallier's got it. And
he's going to be short.
Yep. And nowhere to go. So 4 plays, 14 yards. They get the touchdown, but they do not get the 2-point conversion. I think Frank's just happy because it doesn't look like it could head to overtime, and he's got a bedtime waiting.
We got a John Lehman sighting. The former Skyridge coach just gave Toilolo a little low 5 there.
We got another
state
flag
champ,
too, by the way.
And now the athletics director at Skyridge, still very actively involved in all athletics, obviously, but very involved continues to be with the football team.
Yeah, you know what that old saying is.
Let's find out what this is before we get to your old saying.
It's an old saying.
I'm not sure what they're doing here, but
we're talking with Coach Hem.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he's waiting for Atawaya to come over and talk with Coach Donnie Atawaya. Both coaches at about midfield now.
Boy, I'd love to have
and this could be one of the situations where say, hey, an emotional game.
Yes.
Guys are, things are starting to happen here.
Yes.
We want to make you guys aware that we're going to call things, talk to your players.
Things may have been
a couple of great head coaches here. And now both coaches will bring their team. Donnie Atawaya is going to gather the entire Timpview squad.
This must be
and
a
have a word
sportsmanship thing.
Absolutely, it is. No question.
Yeah. Which means the penalty is probably inconsequential in terms of.
You guys keep your composure. Watch what you're saying, especially to the other team. Yes, sir. We good? Yes, sir.
Right, there you go.
Great job by our camera crew to get a little behind the ropes here. Give you some all access with Coach Atawaya talking to his team, and he tells them, hey, keep your composure. Be careful what you're saying, especially to the other team. And over the last, I would say, 10 years, they have gotten very, I think, strict with the words that are being bantered back and forth between players.
Sportsmanship. That speech sounded very much like the speech I gave Alema at halftime.
Well, I got to credit Donnie because there are a lot of coaches that would have had a lot more colorful language in that speech. And thank you, Donnie, especially being on our air.
I think that's partly what they're trying to eliminate is the colorful speech. Okay, so here we go. Can Skyridge get back on track offensively, or is this another opportunity for the Timpview defense to rise up?
Yeah, you got to believe that the Timpview defense is feeling very confident, and this is the test of a young quarterback. Right? You've had several turnovers, couple of interceptions. How are you going to respond? Speaking of Sweetwine.
By the way, I'm being told that one player was ejected in all that. Might have been.
This is an onside kick?
It would appear to be. Yes, it is.
Recovered, 25-yard line.
Again, so many of these special teams elements have been implemented in the last 2 days.
Like yesterday.
Getting ready for the game.
It's like yesterday. Hey,
say onside. Onside.
They're like, hey, coach, who's
You're
on the onside?
You're on onside.
You're on the hands team.
Yep.
You're on the hands team.
By the way,
Everybody's on the hands team.
Eye in the Sky brought to you by Sunbelt for all your equipment needs. Boyd up there in the Eye in the Sky getting ready for the post-game party, which will be held right behind him.
With DJ Ace in the place, rocking the bass.
Sunbelt doing a great job for us tonight.
Yeah, not just scissor lifts. They got everything you need. If you need something special, extra at your place, Sunbelt Rentals.
Now, the fact that they held Timpview on the two-point conversion, a whole different philosophy now on this drive as they just try to chew up that clock.
Yeah.
And again, you can anticipate a ton of run to the right side of the line.
Absolutely. Only throw the ball if absolutely necessary for Skyridge at this point in the football game.
Oh. Second down 8. Low snap. Sweetwine's got it though. Not much room to go. Well, you don't want to. I mean, you want to be conservative and careful, but there's a lot of time in this game.
Oh, no question. And I don't think that the conservative call play relates necessarily to how much time is on the clock. Oh, we can bleed out the final 6 minutes, now under 5.5.
You know, but how confident is Skyridge in their defense? Timpview hasn't really moved the ball offensively. Everything they've gotten in the second half has been because of the defense.
Field position.
Yeah. So
the recovered punt in the end zone.
Yes. So Skyridge may have some level of comfort putting their defense out on the field.
Clock is under 3 seconds now. They'll have to take a timeout here.
They just beat that. Under 5 to play now. We've got a great ball game. 2-point lead for Skyridge, but they've got a 3rd and 9 when we come back. All right, big play here. 3rd down and 9. They need to get to the 36-yard line. Sweetwine will throw for it. Sweetwine wants it all. Throwing deep, way overthrown. And Timpview is held, and I would think almost certainly Skyridge is going to punt this ball.
Yeah, no question on that. Junior Coughlin looking back at the officiating crew saying, hey, man, I got held up.
Junior Coughlin got held up.
I'll tell you,
he was 4 yards behind the defender.
This Timpview defense has done their job.
Yes, absolutely. The Timpview defense is why we have a 2-point ball game right now.
Didn't look that way early on, but boy, it sure has in this second half. I mean, keep in mind, Skyridge has still not scored in the second half of this game. We only have 1 score. Well, 2 scores, and they're both by Timpview. 1 offensive score. It's unreal how much this game has changed.
Well, you know, you always wonder what the conversation is in the locker room. A great job by Blake Hester, by the way, after that punt or that snap went over his head. And we talked so much about he should have kicked it out of bounds and, you know, what he could have done. A lot of that stuff gets learned. You know, we always have that saying, you learn what by doing. And sometimes you don't have that situation. You don't practice that situation. So the way that you learn how to deal with that situation oftentimes and unfortunately at times happens in the game.
Absolutely.
But rebounds, both the long snapper and the punter on a clean and a successful punt there.
That's why they say
53-yard kick. Yeah.
That's why they say the most improvement in a football season becomes going through game 1 to game 2 because all of that learning. You just can't replicate game speed.
Unsportsmanlike conduct on the head coach of Timpview. Number 7 is illegally equipped. 15-yard penalty. First down.
So they had to run somebody off.
I think because he had a scarf on.
Jackson Burt, I'm not sure what the equipment problem was.
He had a wardrobe malfunction.
You know, it might have, you know, because sometimes you got the towel in the wrong place, or you know, there are things that happen.
Well, that you don't get a warning. Like you don't get a warning for that. Hey, go take that off.
Yeah, they all got a warning on a Zoom call a couple days ago. That was their warning.
Yeah, but look
They're
at that.
not going to mess around with this.
That's a 15-yard penalty.
Yep. It is. Rasmussen He takes off, and Rasmussen lowers the head, gets that penalty back, and a little more.
How about that? That's a great run. Just a designed run all the way.
He has been the most effective running threat for the Timpview football team.
And this is, you know, I think a great way to approach this drive. Run the ball, run down the clock, and score without leaving any time on the clock for Skyridge.
I completely agree with your analysis.
17 yards on that pickup. Second down, 3. Clock running. We approach 4 minutes to go. Timpview, the home team, down by 2. Rasmussen takes off again. This time he's got the first down and he gets out of bounds.
And they're just saying on the Timpview sideline, they're saying, we believe that Rasmussen has got enough gas left in the tank to be able to make some plays here. And you got linebackers, you got Bird and Holt that are going to have to try to figure out, okay, how do we, if he decides to run, how do we stop him? And Timpview's saying, our guy can beat him. It's a one-on-one matchup.
First down. This time he looks like he's going to throw. Plenty of time. Fires downfield a little low. That's going to be incomplete.
Time a 3-man rush by Skyridge. Dropping everybody else back in coverage.
So the clock will stop with the incomplete pass. And Timpview hasn't been able to generate much of a run game. They're going to have to throw the ball successfully. Oh, and that should be against.
Yeah, Malafau was, you know, into the neutral zone, and that'll be 5 going the other way.
You just lose a little. You get tired. The end of the game, you start losing a little discipline.
Absolutely, it's you know, and this is an important learning lesson. This is how everybody gets better. Is you got to understand in the late parts of a game, late in the 4th quarter, the fatigue sets in and you got to maintain your focus, maybe even heighten your focus.
Well, to further illustrate that, Alema, no penalties for Skyridge in the first half. They already have 7 in the second half.
I think that it might have been movement by Timpview.
Yeah, in the backfield.
I believe Ambrosio might have moved first. Or could have been Galeai.
Let's take a look.
Oh, yeah, that's actually the center.
A fake snap. The old fake snap.
Yeah. The old fake snapperoo.
The old fake
Gotcha.
Snapaloo.
Not just fake snap, but fake snapperoo.
when you do that, you just got to snap it. Like,
yeah. Alema Foster, named after Alema Harrington. All right, here we go. 2nd and 10. Rasmussen. Oh, he's so dangerous. And Rasmussen can't shake that tackle. Gets back to the line of
Bird
scrimmage.
does a great job with the angle.
Yeah, Rasmussen was trying his best to escape that, but Noah Bird had the angle and brought him down. That's a big stop right there. 3rd down and 10.
So clock running, 3:20. They've got to get to the 47-yard line, or at least make it a more manageable 4th down. And here we go. Rasmussen. Oh, it looked like he was going to run again, and then his indecision, that ended that. And Toilolo.
Great discipline that time by Toilolo to be able to stay in front of Rasmussen, break down, and then great form tackle to bring him to the ground.
The Skyridge defense is playing this really well. They initially rushed 2. They brought a 3rd rusher late, but then, like you said, they had a 2nd level spying the quarterback. So Rasmussen didn't have a place to run around when the protection broke down, and because of the defensive secondary, didn't have anywhere to throw the ball. Excellent defensive design by Skyridge.
4th and 9. Rasmussen going for it all, throwing deep. There's a flag down. This is going to be a 1st down. As you see, Tuaone was held up. I mean, you could see that before the ball even got there.
Edwards was like, I'm either going to give up the touchdown or I'm going to get a penalty here, and I'll take the penalty.
Yeah.
That's a good decision. Good decision by Edwards.
Hey, Ski.
Pass interference. Defense, number 1.
Are you of the opinion that on pass interference, you like this, or do you prefer the NFL rule where it's spot of the foul?
I think this is better.
Well, I mean, because if it were like the NFL rule, it's 25 more yards.
I get that, but how many times do you look at the call and say that's a terrible call?
Yeah, okay, good point. Not in high school. Our refs are awesome.
Right, that's true.
Screen pass to the outside, complete, good yardage.
Oh, now we hear Pula's name again.
Yeah.
Very active in the first half of this game. Jaron Pula with the catch.
His brother Keenan has been phenomenal.
Both the Pulas on the field.
1:45 to play.
Right, and consider that you really just need to get into field goal range if you can put your trust into the leg
Luke
of Thronach.
Rasmussen again going down that sideline. Caught. First down.
They're going to say he was inbounds. Now, he had a catch in the first half by the sideline where his foot was out of bounds. I'd love to see the replay on this. He did a great job tight roping down the sideline once he hit.
Robert DeBry, you make the call, guys. 20 yards. Is he in?
The toe. What a great play right there.
Wow. He got two feet. Watch this. Catch.
Drag.
One.
Second foot down. Great job by our camera crew in our truck.
Absolutely.
Yeah, how about the great job by Jaron Pula?
First down. He'll try to get outside, tripped up, stays in bounds, so clock will run, 1:20.
Great penetration that time that was Griffin Kunz, one of the outside linebackers in this 3-4 formation from Skyridge.
By the way, Pula, guys, has gone over 100 yards receiving. He's now at 107. What a night for that young
It's going to be a great night and a great day tomorrow for the Pula family. The question is,
they win,
are you in field goal position here?
Well, 34 yards is the long last year for Thronach. 4 of 7 field goals, 34 long.
Yeah, this would probably be somewhere around 38, 39 yards if they were kicked from this point. Keep in mind that Shivas Gregory has gone out for Timpview because of an injury. Ngaleai is in at running back, playing both sides of the ball.
Timpview with 1 timeout remaining.
2nd and 15.
Do you even think, why not? Do you think about throwing the ball here?
I think you got to find, a way to get in better field position for your field goal attempt.
And they're dropping into coverage. 3-man, it's going to be a 3-man. They're playing like a 3-3. Now they're walking up. 3-man rush here.
Here we go, 2nd and 15. Rasmussen, and he's going to take off again. And Rasmussen again, good yardage, and gets out of bounds. Inside or right near the 10-yard line. What a great play by that quarterback.
I got to tell you, John Lehman is on the other sideline right now saying that looks like McKay Hillstead came up from Provo at BYU and threw on a Timpview jersey, and he's playing for them right now.
I mean, you could say that it just looks like Britton Covey.
You could say that as well.
Why wouldn't you say that?
I think he's a little better than Britton Covey.
Why wouldn't you just say that?
Well, not everybody remembers Britton played here at Timpview as a quarterback.
That's right.
I remember, you remember, because we called some of his games. He was phenomenal.
First down. Rasmussen keeps. Rasmussen gets to the 6. Clock running at 45, 44.
What do you do if you're Skyridge? Do you start using timeouts here?
Oh man,
I think with this little time left, you just got to hope for the best.
Yeah, and if you're Timpview, you're going to try and score here. Obviously,
there looks like he's.
But I think they're just waiting.
You need to center the ball.
I think you center the ball.
You got to center it.
I agree.
And then maybe call timeout.
What a game for Rasmussen. 212 passing yards, 68 rushing yards. They got to kind of get going here. They have the timeout, and there they go, centering the ball. Be nice to center it in the end zone.
Maybe I'll just take the end zone.
No, so 9 seconds, and Donnie Atawaya gets the timeout. And
but the closer you get, if you're on the hash mark, the harder the angle gets.
It's a terrible angle. Like, this is a terrible angle for a kicker. You're at the 2-3 yard line on the right hash mark. Look at this angle.
No, no, this is a tough angle for your kicker. That's a great,
you know, hey, to be honest, you can run another play if they have a timeout left. Oh,
No,
they don't.
They just took their last timeout.
They just burned it.
And they didn't center the football. I'm telling you what, this is not the NFL. In the NFL, the hash marks are
much closer.
Narrow.
They're right on the goalpost.
Exactly.
And the goalpost is narrower, but the hash marks are narrower.
Yes.
Here in the high school ranks, this is a very tough kick right here.
This is one of those kicks where you're going to have to take out. You're going to have to go back to your physics class.
Indeed.
And say, what is my angle of attack here?
So Luke Thronok will kick the ball.
And you practiced in practice a lot of field goal attempts. Not this one.
No, not from the 2-yard line on the right hash.
You and I.
Now, wait a second. They didn't run him out there. All right, we're going to have to see what's going on here.
Skyridge will take a timeout.
Oh. Well, they did. They ran Rasmussen out there.
Yeah, I think they're gonna figure they just throw one more like a fade or something. Clock will stop and then you kick it.
With 9 seconds left, you figure
you got enough time for that.
If it's incomplete, it's about a 4 or 5 seconds. Stop the clock. Run your kicking team onto the field.
Oh, if Timpview comes back and wins this game, masterful job by Donnie Atawaya and his staff.
Yeah, they're definitely not kicking on this one, at least the play they just sent out. But why not? Obviously you're not going to run it. You got more than enough time to just throw a quick pass, make sure it's a safe pass, can't get to the other team in any way, shape, or form, and then you run out your kicker.
I'm going to go for a play-action jump pass to the tight end.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's going to be a little crowded in the end zone. I don't think Skyridge is going to be bringing the house here thinking that this is going to be a quarterback draw, but you never know.
No.
All right, here we go. So one play to set things up unless they score the touchdown. Rasmussen, back shoulder. Did he get it? Touchdown! Wow.
I'll tell you, the Pula brothers are just taking turns. The beginning of the game was Jared Pula. Middle of the game into the second half, it was Keenan Pula. And now Jared Pula with the touchdown, the go-ahead score for Timpview.
Well, I think we split the MVP, right? The Pulas.
To send it to the same house.
It's just one household. Let's see the replay right here. Perfect throw. Watch
Great
Pula.
back shoulder throw.
1, 2, ooh. Okay, so he got 1 foot down, but you know the rule in high school.
Just one.
So it's almost 10 o'clock. The last touchdown in this game was scored at 8:10. An hour and 45 minutes ago.
First foot was down.
How about that?
First foot was down.
Yeah. And that wasn't bad coverage. Guilford was right on top of him. Just a great throw, great execution by this Timpview offense.
That's just crazy. I didn't think we'd actually be here this late, but it's been that long since anyone scored. So now, I guess they're thinking about going for 2 again. No, they're going to just kick it now. No, they are.
No,
they're keeping their offense on the field here.
Yeah.
But why not? It's a 4-point lead now, so you either have 6 or 4.
Now they're running people onto the field.
Yeah, Wilkerson now in at running back.
Okay, here we go. So the 2-point conversion to add on to this. Rasmussen looking and firing high and caught.
Out of bounds.
Out of bounds this time, no question. So 33-29. How about this? A 12-play, 80-yard drive, guys. Remember when we went back to the beginning of this drive, Frank, and you were talking about, both of you were talking about, use up the clock, kick the field goal, get the win. Yep. They did exactly that, left little to no time on it.
Yeah.
And Keenan Pula with the reception.
No, we talk about what the offense for Timpview was able to do, but how about the Timpview defense pitching a shutout in the second half after giving up 29 first half points. Now, it wasn't all offense that scored those points for Skyridge, but to be able to come back and pitch a shutout in the second half, that's something.
Yeah, if I had told you at halftime, oh, Skyridge isn't going to score again, you would have told me I was nuts.
Well, we'll tell you you're nuts regardless.
I know you do anyway.
Regardless, we're going to tell you you're nuts.
True.
So Jaron Pula, number 5, comes up with the big one. Unbelievable. Just an unbelievable. What a great game for opening night, huh?
Indeed. And
I mean, you never know what you're going to get.
Yeah,
but
this game, this night will go down in history here at Timpview because they're unveiling the new stadium.
That's right.
You know, the renovations that took place here. But to win in this fashion, and there's 6 seconds left here. So, you know, Skyridge can do something. But what an incredible game.
Yeah, be careful where you're kicking this if you're Timpview.
Yes, Skyridge does have a return.
And that's going to roll out of bounds. All right, so no time off the clock, 6 seconds left.
Something tells me, though, don't sleep on Skyridge.
Yeah.
This is not
careful.
done.
It's not over.
Yeah, no doubt.
It is not over. This is a very makeable throw for Sweetwine if he wants to chug it. They probably have time, if you're efficient, for 2 plays.
I tell you, the situations tonight that you don't necessarily put a lot of practice time in. Right, your prevent defense at the end of the game, we got to prevent them from throwing a Hail Mary. Let's practice that one time. Okay, that's it.
Yeah, you might just draw it up on the way. Okay, if this happens,
this is where
it's going to look like.
Yeah.
And then you draw it up on the sideline and you run everybody out there and say, here we go.
Well, you see a number of defensive backs down at the 25-yard line. This ball will be snapped at the 50. You got 3 guys that potentially can rush. You got to spy for your quarterback, then everybody else is dropping back. Underneath pass, possible pitch here.
Here we go. There's the pitch. Oh, pitch is intercepted and recovered, and that's it. And Timpview victorious on opening night in their new house.
Let's go!
What a game. What a way to start the season. Offense, defense, special teams. We had just 1 punt in the first half. You thought maybe special teams wasn't going to play a big role outside of that kick return for a touchdown. But every aspect of the game was on display here tonight.
Well, I could not be more impressed by the way Timpview regained their composure in the second half, because they looked out of sorts at the end of that first half of play and came out, and that defense really turned this game around for the Thunderbirds.
So for Jaron, 10 receptions, 109 yards, 2 touchdowns. For Keenan, 3 receptions, 53 yards, 2 interceptions, and a fumble recovery for a touchdown.
I'll tell you, party at the Pula house. What an amazing comeback from Timpview. And the fans have stormed the field now, as they should on a night like this.
Well, like you said, they're celebrating their new house. All right, let's get to break. When we come back, we're going to pass out some hardware to Donnie Altawaya.
We got a little housewarming gift.
Yeah, absolutely. And also announce our MVP. Coming up right after this. Victory to the Thunderbirds on American First Credit Union's Thursday Night Lights. Welcome back. Victory to Timpview, and our MVP of the game brought to you by America First Credit Union. And we're going to have to split it, Alema. The Pulas.
We're going to combine their name, maybe. Jaron Pula, Keenan Pula. What an amazing game on both sides of the ball, right? 2 interceptions. He also had that punt fumble recovery for a touchdown. He played such an important role early in the game. Jaron Pula with this big catch, which led to their first touchdown. He gets into the end zone. Amazing. Both of these players playing great down the stretch. That was the go-ahead score, and Timpview victorious.
Well, and that means a little hardware is about to be given out to Donnie Atawaya and his team. But Alema, just a marvelous second half, especially performance. I mean, what can you say about this team? 29 points for Skyridge in the first half, and they never scored again.
Well, you know, you go into halftime, you're down a couple of touchdowns. And so you always wonder, what was the conversation in the locker room? What were they saying to the defense? What were they saying to the offense? And whatever they said was exactly what needed to be said, because they came back out in the second half with a renewed focus. I think Frank mentioned it, a little bit of a reset in the second half for Timpview. They came out and they were dominant in the second half. Not to the point where it looked like Skyridge didn't have a chance. They were still up by a couple of touchdowns. But slowly but surely, Timpview was able to just chip away at it, and big plays on special teams, and it took every aspect of the game, offense, defense, and special teams, for Timpview to come back and win this game, and they did that.
Well, and a nice job by Carson Rasmussen as well. I mean, don't forget that, coming into a new program after transferring, and really did a great job, and you know, didn't make any costly mistakes.
Well, no question. You know, I don't care, you know, how much confidence you think you have when you're coming into a new situation, and you had a great season last year. Rasmussen did almost 4,000 yards passing the ball, but you come into this situation, and maybe even early on, okay, a little slow going as I'm watching the Pula brothers as they're exiting past the Mac Shack and sizing them up. These guys are probably like a 40 too long, is what I put them in if they were come down to Mr. Mac for a suit. By the way, you know, you take a look at all the things that they were able to accomplish down the stretch. Speaking of Timpview, this is one of those things that you have to be led by a guy on offense. It has to be your quarterback. And Rasmussen came in and was able to weather the storm. There are a couple of times when, okay, it gets a little shaky, but this guy is just brimmed with confidence, and he was able to take his team down the field and make some big plays, not just with his arm, but with his legs as well.
Let's go down to the field now. Frank Dolce standing by with the victorious coach.
Welcome back. Boy, that was an exciting game here tonight. First home game for Timpview in 3 years. And, Coach, I don't know if you could have drawn up a better win than that.
I think we wanted it to perform better, but, yeah, we'll take the win.
Well, first games, a lot of funny things happen in first games. Coming out of that first half of football, it looked like your team had lost a little bit of focus, and all of a sudden you were getting run down up and down the field. You go down by 2 scores. What was your message at halftime?
It was just momentum. We wanted that momentum back. So the biggest thing was that it was just, as coaches, it was fun knowing that we had a lot of coaching to do. That was the biggest thing. We had a lot of, especially on the defensive side, we had a lot of players playing for the first time, starting for the first time, and putting them together at the same time. It was fun to think, okay, we're going to coach them up even better in the second half. So I got good coaches, and they did their job.
Well, the offense.
I mean, that goes with our coaches too. So they were very excited to make the adjustments at half, and I think the boys responded on the defensive side. But on the offensive side, I mean, just to get those points, I mean, that was a grind. That was a grind, and kudos to Carson and to our offensive line and to our receivers, everyone, to grind it out. And so that was pretty much what Timpview football is. We're going to find a way to win.
Absolutely. Well, 10 minutes after the game ended, you guys win. What's your biggest takeaway from this one?
We have a lot of work to do. That's it. That's it. We're going to go tomorrow. We're going to work tomorrow.
Well, whatever you did now resulted in a win, and that makes you the America First Credit Union Thursday Night Lights champion.
And there you have it.
Hey, what a way to start off your defense of your 5A state championship, right? To have a big game like this
against a 6A team.
Against a 6A team that made it to the finals last year. You know, this was a big game for this group. And I love what Coach Atawaya said, which was, we still got a lot of coaching to do. There's a lot of guys that are on that defensive side of the ball, you know, first time playing, first time starting. You know, there's a lot that comes out of this first game. Frank said this, that biggest improvement will happen between week 1 and week 2, and I'll say this for both teams, Skyridge as well as Timpview. We'll see a lot of improvement, certainly in the second game of the year.
Well, Lemma, Frank, you guys were awesome, and what a great night indeed to see this. Couldn't ask for a better game. And that's the way we like it. All right, coming up next tomorrow night, we're back at it again. This could be a good one. Davis traveling to Lehigh. You'll see that game on KMYU and streamed at KUTV.com as well. 7 o'clock as we just head up the road. So thanks for joining us tonight. Thank you so much to our entire Pure Broadcasting crew. I'll tell you, the camera work was spectacular tonight. And the combatants themselves, the gladiators, they put on a show for us. Tyson and Miley, thank you so much for your stats. I mean, they were just coming at me. I almost felt like I was getting run over by a train, and I love it. We'll do it all again tomorrow. For now, have a good night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow night from Lehigh.